Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rise of Drekis, Chapter 1, Episode 3. How are you doing, Faye?
Doing pretty good. Little tired. It's been a long week.
Hasn't
But
it?
I mean, you had an even longer week than me, so I'm not even complaining. And we have big plans for today. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, why don't we start off by figuring out where we left off, and then we can go into the game, and you can... I'm still not sure what your plan is, so I can't project it into the future. Maybe it's to kill the deserters. Maybe it's to join the deserters. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm still not entirely certain. You've been ruthless so far, but at the same time, like, kind of didn't want that one guy to get killed, but now you're, like, happily slaughtering these people. I don't know where you are. We'll find out. But where are we?
So, I would like to say that I never happily slaughter anybody, okay? It's just all for the good of mankind, if anything. So, right. Last session, we have finally found the shipwreck of the Alma, which was that ship that shipwrecked like in front of the coast, and that had allegedly the deserters on board. The ship was entirely stranded, and people on there were hungry, tired, hurt, and had no way to get off that icy cliff they were on. So Elaine and her capable men built a raft to cross the icy water and get these people across. It was quite the challenge because they were surprised by a blizzard, or rather snowstorm, as they were building the raft. And some doubts came up whether they should abandon that the expedition at that point and go back to the camp, but they decided to pull through and actually managed to save the people on the boat, who then in return came back to Elaine's and her people's camp and talked to them a little bit more about the deserters and what was going on. And it turned out that it wasn't quite what we anticipated. What we anticipated was that the Solmese part of the army that was with the Drekisian people and formed like one mixed group, that they were the ones who were, the deserters and who had betrayed our army. But apparently those people actually tried to pull through and fulfill the mission they were on, and the Drekisian people, especially cleric. So in my notes it says Ilse. That's the name you gave me, but you keep calling her Elise, so I'm not sure which one it is.
It's I-L...
L-S-E? So if it's a German name, it would be Ilse.
I-L-S-E? Ilse? Ilse?
Yep. Ilse, yep.
That is what it was written down, but Ilse, Elise, it's a couple of weird sounds thrown together with an L and an S in there.
Okay.
Ilse, Elise, same? No?
Okay, so for Neal, it's same. I'll call it's not even remotely. So cleric Ilse, who's a cleric of Mathis, the god of knowledge, has apparently taken charge, abandoned the ship, and has led a group of people up the mountain to some sort of strange light, a pylon or some sort of light up there. And has told people that the Queen of Drekis has been possessed by demons, and that she's not trustworthy anymore. So we decided to investigate. Made our way up the mountain for the first time. And Elaine and Willa managed to actually capture one of the deserters and brought them in for questioning.
What was their name?
Neal, I can't remember. Can you remember what? No, his name was. Sorry.
I thought you took notes.
Where's actually my notes? I did. His name was Grippin. Grippin was the one who was captured by us, and Grippin was not a very smart man. he decided to tell all of this story to Elaine, and Elaine in exchange said that, you know, she was going to take care of the situation. But what the two understand of that is very different. So Griffin thinks Elaine is currently going up the mountain to meet up with the people who are stationed up at the pylon or light, and there's also a mine up there, to go and talk to them, while Elaine thought this would be probably a good opportunity, since the enemies are split, to go up there and clear out that position, that vantage point. And that's where we are currently. So Elaine and a group of her soldiers have snuck up the mountain and have stealthily attacked that mine.
Yeah,
and we are currently in combat, I believe.
And not assassinated, but shot one of the guys on patrol, killed one of the people carrying a log, sent 2 fighters off to go deal with one of the woodsmen that you can still hear, and your 2 spearmen went into the mine.
We killed 2 people with the log. Two log
running
people.
away.
Was that the guy who's going into the mine? Okay, so one log person, one person who was on the lookout, at least one person is still like in the woods, and Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, with all of that said, we are just going to hop into what is actually mid-combat. So, here we are. We're going to come down to the bottom of the map.
Oh, boy. Okay.
You can see right away, as I'm getting the combat music going on, as you enter into the mine, you can see the source of the light in the mine that is shining out. It is a large fire. Now, this token has a little bit of a brazier around it. It doesn't have the brazier. It's just a bunch of logs piled together, but it's hard to find large fire tokens for exactly what you need. So it's a big pile of logs just inside, blazing full of light, shining out the front, but also illuminating the rest of the area, and it's hot. You definitely can like slide past it over here, but it's a very uncomfortable area to be hanging out next to. And I think from your positioning, you can see that there are a couple of other fighters slightly deeper in the mine. Yeah?
Yep, I see at least 2 more people.
Excellent. Okay, well, why don't we
3
open up the turn order? Oh, no. Oh, no. Bad. See, in order to get that really cool turn tracker on the top of the screen, I have to do some fancy schmancy nonsense with CSS. But every now and then, Roll20 changes the tags and the IDs, and now our turn orders are not behaving appropriately. Oh no. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're not going to have the fancy turn order. So, would everyone please roll me initiative? I will roll for your minions. Sorry, your beloved soldiers who you care deeply about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, you know their names, I'm sure.
Do you want me to give them?
I'm just pointing out that you love them so much.
I'm pretty sure we had a challenge, Neal. I have enough trust into my naming abilities, okay, that I'm convinced that I would be able to name them better than you would.
Griffin is a great name, okay?
Yeah, right. It would be Griffin, Carl, Jimmy, Johnny, Bobby, Otto, Otto 2, Jimmy again. Then there's like one girl in there who's called like Sandra or something.
You're killing it. I love these names. These are fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, never mind.
The Swedes are going to come after you if you keep making fun of Griffin.
This is a life and death situation, okay, people?
Very serious.
Very serial. Okay, what was I doing? I was rolling initiative. Selecting the token so Neal doesn't get angry.
Actually, in this situation, you don't need to because we're not using the turn trackers.
Oh, what if I still do it, Neal? What then?
I don't know.
I'm actually curious, so hold on.
We'll probably open the turn tracker and I'll close it again.
Okay, we'll do that then. So just for my knowledge sake, since I'm wearing a shield, I cannot change in combat between bow and my sword, right? I'm stuck with my sword because there's no way I can be like, all right,
it takes a round to take your shield off. Which is great because your allies are in front of you. You're not going to be able to stab anyone this round. And this... All right, Elaine Pentolin. First of your name, you go first. Also, last of your name. I'm so sorry. You go first.
I can still adopt, thank you very much.
It's true.
Right. So... I can't really attack with my sword. Because that, like, I have two people in front of me that are blocking me.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead, I will shout down the hallway. Okay, I will shout, in the name of Drekis, we've come to save you. Surrender if you want to come with us. We have 1 minute, correct? Yeah, I know. I know what I said. I know what I said.
Yeah. No, I'm just, I'm here to save you. Surrender.
Yeah. Well, they know that they are technically against me. They should be aware.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna just take some dice. We're gonna roll them. We're just gonna see where it lands.
They're like, no. Yes, we're coming with you. No, that would be nice.
No, that would be nice. But the dice were not that lucky today. No. Instead, you get a fall back, Jimmy. Fall back. There you go. That's what you get for the sass. And next up is a person who we're not going to worry about, and a person we're not going to worry about, and your fighter on the left. What would you like? Probably attacking with the spear, right? This is the order that you had given them, was to come in here and
to follow that person and bring them down if they keep running. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, my boy.
Oh, you want to roll me an additional d6 for damage here because he definitely crits this Jimmy.
Look at him. Oh, let's go.
9 points of damage. Down goes Jimmy. They never survive very long, do they? And this soldier who was successful will then take movement to about the midpoint here. That person. And then this one will move up as well, partway into the hallway. Now, the fire here is bright, and it casts these long shadows in the hallway. And, well, the walls are a little bit icy. It reflects a little bit of light. It casts shadows deeper in. But it does cause a little bit of problems. If you're looking into the flames, you're going to have penalties to hit, whereas if the flames are backlighting you, no penalties to hit. So your soldiers will deal with this person and move up in an orderly fashion, not suiciding in. They're well-trained Drekisian soldiers. They'll move to this point, and we can roll initiative for the next round, unless you have something you want to say or do.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well,
I think the only thing I would yell would be Connar, because it seems like there would be a pathway on the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. Right, so I just remind them in good old Drekisian fashion that if you approach the enemy, you got to check to the left-hand side before you get hit by, the rolling boulder or whatever. So that's all I would do, and then I would move up with them.
Okay.
Could I still prepare an action to attack, even if I wasn't,
Like, so on your turn, you want
I could move and attack,
ready.
Right?
You could move and attack, or you could ready in action, or move and ready in action.
Well, can I ready? So if I go after them, right? I could ready. I will move and attack if there's space on the left side.
Delay. That is a thing.
Yes, I would like to delay then.
Okay, they're just going to delay until after your allies. That is fine. First up are your two people. They both go at 7 initiative. They both rolled 1s on their initiative. And so in lockstep together, they will shield wall their way forward, coming to about this point where they will be met by their enemies who have readied actions for as soon as somebody comes into range. And on the left, as you had said, Connar, there is an axeman there who is one of these mercenaries. He's one of these hired Solamese second-level fighters with a battle axe and a shield. And he would probably normally have some sort of armor on, but like all these other people, the armor has been cast aside to travel more easily in the winter environment. And he'll bring his battle axe forward across the shoulders of, one of these nameless people that you don't care about. With a 7 to hit. Not good enough. On the other side of the battlefield, the spearman, readied in action last round, will go with a thrust. A 15 is just shy of a hit, because now that they're shield walled, they have 17 AC. And your dudes, your girls, will take a stab. One on the right is a miss. One on the left towards the axe is 13. Actually hits.
Is a hit.
For 6 points of damage. There we go. La 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 la. You are delaying. I don't know what you're delaying for, but it sounds like the enemies get to retaliate now.
Yeah, there's no space for me to attack on the left side, unfortunately.
Yep. These two will move up. They will lock their shields, and both of these on the right, will stab against your spearman on the right. 14, no good. 5, no good. And the axe guy will take his attack. Which is an 11. All these are at -1. None of these hit. And Elaine, I guess you just have movement at the end of the round wherever you might want to go.
I can't go through my ally square, right? I can't squeeze through.
In this situation, they're shield walled, they're stuck together. You couldn't go through at all. No.
Okay.
You could leave the fight for them, because you can hear sounds of combat outside. Behind you, there is the shouting of the people who have seemingly found the logger, and there's curses and the sounds of clashing steel on swords, or steel on steel and steel on wood, and maybe the occasional twang of a bow and a whistle of an arrow. Those are words.
Okay, is there such a thing as disadvantage? No, not disadvantage, sorry. Is there such a thing as my people will be imperiled if I use a ranged weapon?
Absolutely.
Because
okay. If they're forming a full shield wall, you're not going to be able to shoot over them. That is one of the disadvantages
of the shield wall. Well,
yeah.
I'll yell at them, keep pushing forward, and then I'll turn around and I'll step out of the mine and see what's going on.
Okay. Yep.
We're not that far in, right? We're right at the entrance.
Oh yeah, right at the entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, they're what, 50 feet in at most? It's fine.
All right.
You can step outside, and the sounds of the inside combat, which is really echoing in these halls in here, right? You've got the spears and these shields that are clattering, and with the confines of the cave, the sounds are just echoing all over the place. But when you step out onto the mountaintop, you're actually hit instead with gusts of wind and the sort of distant echoes of combat being softened by the snow on the ground. You can look about. You can try and make an assessment of the situation. The bow folks have moved on up, and they're sort of next to you, a little behind you, but in that same sort of area right out front of the mines. One of them is grabbing the body of the archer who was above the mine shaft and is dragging them down to take a look, make sure they're dead, see if there's anything interesting on them. The other is guarding the area, keeping an eye out, and you can see the footprints in the snow of your soldiers who have gone in the direction of all of the other trudge marks where the woodcutters are.
So that is... Who's still left of them? There's Willa?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people?
2 spears and 2 bows? Yeah, you brought 4 spearmen, 2 archers, and Willa with you. Yes.
Okay, can I sprint down that way? Is that possible?
Towards the woodsman?
Yes, and I'll yell at the archer and send him in. I said, leave the corpse, run into the cave. Take care of the cave. I'll yell at the guy who was the bow.
Okay. Okay.
So he's joining the others, and I'm going outside.
I'm gonna just pull some of it.
Because
And you're
based on
sending
my
in one archer or
information,
2 archers in?
if there are 2 outside, then 1 archer. Based on my information, there shouldn't be that many more people up here. But, you know, you never know. Maybe there's another polar bear.
That polar bear seems to have scarred you in some way, shape, or form. Is that right?
Yeah, you think? Well, my entire shoulder is scarred, Neal, so I think that is a correct assessment.
Quick combat when you happening. +1 to miss. Would you roll me a d6 for damage, please?
Am I rolling for my people or for yours? You're not telling
Your
me.
people.
Alright.
Quick d6. All
3.
right. I'll check. Fail. Okay. And I'm just gonna move your camera away. To, you know,
No!
just away for a moment. It's fine. It's fine. All right. So the next round.
Yep. Well, Neal, if I was... Okay, so if I'm going out and I talk, does that take up my entire turn, or do I already start running at least?
If it's short orders, it's fine. Like, you go in there, totally legit.
Okay, so I assume I've already made some distance towards the direction the footsteps are going to.
Mm-hmm. That was good on morale checks. That was good on morale checks. Okay, great. So you've come out of the mine. You've sent in an archer to go assist your people. You can hear the fighting from in there, and you run towards the other side of the mountain. Quick set of attacks over here. Bad luck on your people. Not great luck on the enemy people. 1, 2. So you come around the corner and you will see your 2 spearmen engaged in combat. There's a pair of axemen. Actually, they're regular Drekisian soldiers, right? But they've got these wood axes and they're just sort of felling at these trees. And there's a pile of branches that they've hacked off the trees to like slim them down. And there's a tree that they are working on either side of. But they've since stopped that activity, and they've got these big 2-handed wood axes, which are like slow and cumbersome, but they do pack a wallop. And they're squaring off against your pair of spearmen, who are, you know, next to each other, but the woodsmen are spread out far enough that you can't quite shield wall against them. Like they move to either side. And it's a pair of one-on-one battles over here. Now, this area is quite a bit wider, so there is room for you to come and get involved. I did not prepare this side of the battle because I thought you were going into the mines, and...
Well, I did wanted to, and then you decided that it's only 2x2, and I'm like, all right, I guess. What am I going to do, stand in the back?
It's fine. It's fine.
Let's go, Drekis.
It's fine. All right, so 2 enemies with axes, 2 allies with spears, and we're going to tone down the sounds of the winds. And why don't you roll into initiative with these other people?
New try.
Wood axes are slow.
I am slow as well.
You are not as slow as these wood axes.
That's good.
All right. The first up is one of your spearmen, who steps towards one of the wood axers, this time actually landing a hit. Would you roll me a d6 for damage, please, ma'am?
3 damage.
3 damage on a deserter who has how much HP? 3 HP. Yeah. The first spearman, as you're running up to the line, jabs one of these axemen through the gut, and the axeman drops to the ground. Dornell. The next person to go is actually you, Elaine. So you can see the other spearman is squaring off against the one remaining axeman, but you are jogging up behind, and you can easily find a position here. Now, is this a straight come and kill him? Is this shove him off the mountain? Is this
Can I
let your
kick him off the
spearman?
mountain? No. So does he look emaciated and weak, and
Like
or
all
does he
the
look well
others,
fed and like all the others? Okay.
like all the others, he looks thin, real thin, and having a hard time of it. Like he's underfed, cutting trees on the top of a mountain.
With a very heavy and very big axe. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I walk up to him, or would I need to charge?
No, you've
To
got
make it
plenty of time to walk up to him. 1 minute rounds, you can do a nice, slow Darth Vader stride
Okay.
towards him.
Okay. I will walk up to him and I'll try to non-lethally attack him with my arming sword.
Excellent. It's a penalty of 4 to hit, but that shouldn't be hard for you because he's just 10 AC.
No, it is very hard. I've been trudging through the snow. I've been in and out of this cave. I'm a little bit out of breath, and I just miss. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. You kick some snow, it falls down into your boot, it's getting like really cold on the side of your foot, and then there's an uncomfortable rock, and you're not in best form at this moment. Lane.
I'm not some delicate flower. I'm not deterred by some rock next to my shoe. Neal, what are you talking about? Jesus Christ. Leading an army's hard work, okay? It's hard work.
It's the trudging, it's the exhaustion of running up the mountain and through the snow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fast combat. There's a lot of quick decisions you need to make, so a lot going on.
While your non-lethal misses, your spearman directly hits with a natural 16.
4 damage.
4 damage will drop the axeman to the ground as blood begins to flow from his side. Now,
I will turn to the spearman and I'll say, is that all of them? Have you seen anybody else out here?
They shake their heads. Don't know, Captain. Lieutenant. Then they point further down the path around this top area. Should we keep going?
And when you say around, is it like they would come back to this place after rounding?
Maybe not, but there's a path out of the mountain, there's a path down that you came, and then there's been this path that they've been logging on the side, and there's clearly trudge marks, like people have gone further into this upper peaked wooded area, but with the jutting and the recessing of the mountain and all the trees, it's hard to tell if there's anything out there. And with the snow on the ground, you can't really hear anything out from around there.
Would you have the better vantage point seeing down the path from here?
No, actually, there is not a better vantage point to the trail coming up the mountain on this side.
Okay. I'll tell them try to find a vantage point up here from which you can see the people coming up this path guarded. If you find anything, one of you comes in and reports towards the mine.
Excellent. Back in the mine, I guess this guy probably needs a check, but that's actually pretty good. So we have... Just do a miss. 16 ought to be hit, but the enemy fighters are looking into the bright light, so it's a miss. 18 will hit and do 6 points of damage.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. So what are you doing, Elaine?
Well, I've given my orders here, so I'm heading back to the mine.
Okay.
I take it in front, nothing has changed so far?
Right, nothing has changed. You've got the one bowman who went into the mine, and you've got the other bowman, and what was her name? Willa, who's chilling out back. Yep.
Okay. Willa, has anybody else come across here?
Your head.
No? Okay, I'll run towards the mine then.
All right. And will hit with crit for 6 points of damage.
Oh, now you're rolling. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to move things along. So as you're coming to the mine and you talk to Will about anything having changed, you will see one of these two beloved but yet still unnamed spearmen backing out of the mine with fresh wounds, leaving a little trail of blood in front of them as they back out with their spear in front of them and come all the way to the entrance.
All right. So he comes all the way to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take my shield and I'll rush past him into the mine.
Right. I guess, sorry, the archer also came out with him. Forgot to mention the archer.
Both of them.
Just one
Okay.
spearman and one archer, but the other spearman did not come out.
Did not come out. Okay, right. I'll say report.
Janet's dead, Lieutenant.
And the others?
Got one of the spearmen. Axeman ran off, but and they point to their own wounds. They are wounded now. They are at 2 out of 6 HP.
Okay, I want Willa and the other bowman who is still outside to come with me, and we're heading inside.
All right, so it's you, 2 bowmen, and Willa?
No, me, Willa, and 1 bowman.
You, Willa, and 1 bowman. Okay.
We don't have any more spearmen out here, I think, right?
No, you spent the other
That's
2
it.
to go search the other
All
side.
right. Yep.
Okay, so there's you, there's a bowman, and there is Willa, who is currently geared out to be a bow fighter, but does have a short sword in hand if they need to change.
Okay.
All right, so you can see the first
I'll
dead guy.
I'll tell Willa to grab a sword for now.
Okay.
Okay, first dead guy. I will walk up. Yeah, if I can.
I'm going to mark this one as an archer, just so we're not confused. Yeah, so you can move to there. You can see that there are. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. You can see that there are a couple of dead. 1 enemy spearman dead. 1 allied spearman dead.
Right. So they had the axeman earlier when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Where does the blood trail lead?
Well, leads this way and up that corridor.
Okay, I'd like to move up there with my group then.
Okay, you're bringing all 3 of you?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm bringing all 3.
All right.
And the corpse, apparently.
Let's slow this down a little bit, because now you're in an unfamiliar cave that is a little bit dark. Actually, it's going to become very dark as soon as you leave sight of where I've placed lighting, because it is sort of a icy cave, and so there's going to be a little bit of reflection of light, but it's going to get darker and darker the further in you.
I'll hand Willa my lantern then. She's behind me, so she has a sword and a lantern. That's possible, right?
That is absolutely possible. Short sword and lantern. Pull up my lantern. To get a book, but I left it in the room. I'll be right back.
All right. So the cave is really, really dark. I mean, all the flames that came from the entrance almost don't reach this area around here. So it's quite dark when I tell Willa to grab my lantern, as she's trying to light it with my flint and tinder. I guess the adrenaline slows down a little bit. I don't feel as much pain from breathing in the lungs because there's been a lot of running around. And I'm mentally preparing to keep walking and skulk around the corners of this very dark cave.
Okay. Chapter 13, Vision and Light. Hooded lantern, light radius 30. Give her there we go. So Willa should be broadcasting light now out to 30 feet. Like her. No, that's fine. We're over here. That's perfect. Okay. Alrighty. So in this mine, cold. It is quiet. You have nice heavy boots on. The ground is frozen. It's dirt, but it's like frozen dirt. Some stone in some areas. And when you walk, it's going to like crackle. And since there's not the wind outside near you anymore, or the big roaring fire making a whole bunch of hissing and popping sounds, wherever you go, they're likely to hear you arrive or see them. Now that the scene is set,
I will raise my shield up in front of me to make sure that, you know, if anybody rounds a corner, I'm right there. I'll tell, well, it's a bowman, so I'll I'll tell Julia, who's here in the back with the bow, to ready an attack. Okay, so in case we round the corner and spot an enemy, that she can let loose an arrow. So, you know, she should have an arrow knocked. And then I will slowly move forward. Do I see the blood splatters on the ground? Do they go to the left side, to the right side?
Let's see how much this guy is bleeding. What is his max HP versus current HP? That's the button. Okay, so I need a weird sized die. Yeah. You can see that the blood, the drips are not super frequent. It's not like a nice long trail, but it'll be like splotch and then line and then a break and then splotch and then break and then line. But it heads this way. It does not seem to go around this corner.
Okay, then I will squeeze past here, and then I will quickly, with my shield, you know, have like a look down this corridor before moving on.
Yeah, you can get to this spot and you can try to look down that corridor, but without any light, it is just hard. It's just dark.
I'll wave Willa to move up a little bit.
You will come up with the lantern, and you'll see it's a bit of a dead end.
Okay, we'll keep moving then into that direction here. Should I just move all of them, or?
Yeah, just in small bursts like that. That's enough for now. These dice rolls will indicate this. Okay, keep going. Now, Willa is behind 2 layers of people, so she is going to be having some serious difficulty shooting past both of you without killing or hitting either of you.
Willa doesn't have the bow.
Sorry.
You mean Julia?
I mean Julia, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, your NPCs are so generic, I can't get
I'm
past
sorry.
the names.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it seems to be fine.
I'm looking around the Neal, I can see them.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
How can you see them?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm letting you know.
Person. Oh my
I'm
god.
an honest person.
Oh, how do I? This is an unforeseen problem. The dead give you vision. Ah, yes. Oh no. All right, hold on. I'm gonna.
That's what I call honorable. You know, even in death,
I
they
caught
are
it on the
still
stream
serving.
Same time, but I appreciate your honesty. To re-randomize their actions. Okay. It's fine. It's fine.
You never now say we turn around and rush down the corridor.
As you please.
Is it? No, we keep walking. It's okay.
All right. You can keep walking.
You said it's dead quiet in here, so I assume if somebody was like running down, we could
Someone was
probably hear
running, yeah. So we're gonna move you up a little bit more quickly. You'll come to this sort of Y intersection near the top of the cave. Back of the cave, I should say.
Yep.
Yep. Now, while this area over here is quite dark, looking out this way, you can still see fairly well. There must be a relatively straight shot. That fire is still casting light this way. So this area over here must be fairly in line with the large flames.
Okay, and I don't see any marks around here.
Right.
I mean, I just assume it doesn't take forever to look on the floor and be like, oh, okay, this is where the blood leads.
It's real fast. You know, it's just dirt and ice. I guess red or brownish dirt does sort of not blend very well with the blood, but with the thin layer of ice on top of everything, like, pretty visible. Especially fresh blood, that bright crimson color, human eyes are very well trained to see, or at least to recognize blood.
Okay, so from here I can see that there's light over there.
Yeah, and you can see blood over here in the top left, and you can see it over on the top right, both directions.
Okay, I will signal towards Willa and Julia to move up here, and I will move down here. And then if this, like, I'll just do, I don't know what the motion is, like the circumvent motion, so they will do, do this, and I'll move more towards this direction at the same time, so we're covering the same ground at the same speed.
Yeah, as you can come out into this big open middle area here, and you can see that there's quite a bit of blood trail here. I'm just going to make some and then drop it on your layer real quick. Can you give me a perception check? I just want to know how much of this I should make. Of course, with time, we won't need this, but just as a quick glance around.
Yeah, can I ask real quick, since this is quite dark around here? So I am a half-elf. Do I get infravision or do I get dark vision? I get infravision, right?
You get low light vision.
Okay. So I should be able to see at least further than the two people with me.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, just before I make this wonderful perception check, that's probably sound-based, but let's see.
Excellent.
13 is not great. It's not great.
It's not the worst that you've ever done. Well, maybe for perception checks it is. Okay. You can see this smattering trail all around. Yep. And Willa and the other person, Willa and Julia, I'm great at these names, are coming up behind you. Willa has her hooded lantern. It's open. It's shining light in all directions, make everything nice and clear. Julia has an arrow notched and is sort of positioning herself next to you now that there's plenty of room so that there's no one in front of her that would block her shots.
Okay, I'm going to walk down here and I'll check this hallway real quick. So, tell Willa to at least come with me, and I'll motion to the archer to just keep standing. That Julia can be where she is right now.
Okay. Leaving Julia, but Willa is coming with you.
Mm-hmm. So, I can't just choose two of them. Like, up here is where I want to go.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a dark little recessed corner up there. Willa can get a little bit closer, and then she will whisper, "I see something." You.
Okay. I would like to... say one last time. Okay. You don't have to die in here today. I say, if you lower your weapons, by my honor, you will not die in this cave.
What is your...
My modifier?
Your charisma modifiers, yeah. There's a loyalty base and a reaction adjust. What's your reaction
Which
adjust?
one is the one you need? Reaction adjust is 2.
That's a bonus of 2, right? That's for high charisma, not a penalty.
Yes, I am charismatic, Neal.
You hear a moment of scuffle. A word, someone saying, let's go. Someone else saying no. And then the sound of steel or brass or copper or some sort of metal impacting flesh. Oh. And stepping out, well, after the sound of a body slumping to the floor, stepping out will be the axe mercenary, who takes a step here into the light, drops their axe to the ground, arm token, walks forward.
Okay. I'll nod at him. I'll say you're coming with us.
Anywhere is better than this frozen hill.
I understand that. I've been on here for a little while, but there's nothing deadlier around here than the snow, really. So we'll grab him. I'll take, like, his one side. Willa will take the other side. We'll stay here for 30 seconds. I'll tell Julia to check on the other person in there if there's really a corpse there, you know, or if there's still anything we could do for that person.
Nope, the person is very, very dead. Very,
okay,
very dead.
And I'll yeah, we'll leave them behind here and then we'll move out, I guess.
Party
and
can...
Okay, I think that should have been everybody. As we walk out, I'll say to the axeman, what's your name? Soldier.
Deco. What's yours?
I'll look at him and I'll say my name is Elaine Pentolin.
You can tell his Drekisian not very
Not
good.
that great.
No,
That's
no.
okay.
Speaking with a
we
thick
will...
foreign accent.
Okay. As we approach the entrance to the cave, I'll say, coming out, we have a prisoner. Right, to declare that people don't automatically shoot him the second he walks out of the door. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll make sure to step in front of him to show people. And I'll say, Decker, was there anybody else with you in that cave?
Shakes his head. No,
right.
There were Archer up top and two more cutting wood.
Okay, I nod, and we'll leave the cave and go outside and see if anything has transpired there.
No, when you get out of the cave, the battles are all done. Your other spearmen have returned back together. They tell you that there's no sight of any other people up here, and there's no actually good spot to view the path coming up the trail. But you, from this vantage point up here, you can see the smoke rising from camp, the mini fort that you have built. It's pretty easy to spot that fort, especially with the trees that were felled nearby and little campfires there and the smoke rising. You can see that problem. Maybe not like making out details, but yeah.
Okay. I guess we're standing outside in the cold. Signs of kerfuffle, blood drops. How are the wounded soldiers holding up?
Yeah, there's one wounded spearman. They're all right. It's been better. Someone else has bandaged them at this point.
Okay. I will get one of the... Is there still somebody who's not hurt out here? In front of the cave?
The other two spearmen are legit. They're fine.
Okay, I'll point towards one of the other spearmen and I'll say, you come with me, please. So there's still one corpse in this cave, is that correct? One bowman died?
One spearman died. One spearman was injured. Two spearmen came out fine. Well, two spearmen outside were fine, and the two bowmen are fine.
Okay. Is the spearman male or female?
Male.
Okay. I'll point towards one of the spearmen outside and I say, I'll need you to come with me. I need help with Robert. And we're walking in together. And I guess Elaine takes a good look at Robert's corpse. How did he die? Like, where did he have a wound?
Robert has a hole through his neck where a spear made its way. Right in the soft point.
So I will take my slightly ripped winter blanket. Okay. Oh no, I didn't take anything as we went up, did I? No, I did. Okay. I guess if I don't... Do I? Wait, let me think about this for a second. We left our backpacks down, right? We didn't take them up, I believe. Because we thought we would make it back. Yes, so I don't have any gear with me. Okay, that's fine. Then I will just pick him up by, like, I'll take the upper part, right? So I'll take him by the shoulders and the arms, and I will use my cloak that I have on my back, and I will like use it to slightly cover him up the neck up to here, right? And then yeah, we're going to carry him outside to the others.
Right. Well, everyone can see Robert, I think the name you gave them. One new prisoner here, one of these mercenaries, the first mercenary that you captured, or even really encountered at all.
Okay. How much time have we spent up this mountaintop so far, Neal?
It took a long while to get up to the top. It took hours. And then it's been less than half an hour of being at the top, although it feels like longer because you were running around and in mortal danger. But actually, it's probably only been about half an hour up here.
Okay. And the other people in the other camp are how far away from us? 3 hours? No.
Yeah, down the mountain usually is a little bit faster than going up the mountain, but 2 or 3 hours down.
And how much daylight do we have left? Approximately.
4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of time.
So I will question the two bowmen that have that were on lookout towards the other path. And so, did you spot anybody down there? Anything moving?
They shake their heads. No.
Nothing. Okay. The fire that we walked past in that cave, is it still burning bright, or is it, going down slowly?
No, it's still burning bright. It will burn itself out fairly quickly if you don't keep adding fuel to it, but it's got a good pile of logs and resources. These are like thick logs they're chopping on, tossing on. They're not like little thin bits, so it'll burn, but in an hour from now, it'll be visibly dimmer, and by nightfall, it'll have been all but burned out, just embers and cinders, and that will be a beacon to anyone who sees it that something is amiss. Unless they plan to put it out that night.
Which I probably didn't, because otherwise I feel like people at the ship would have mentioned that sometimes the light goes out, but they have never, that has never happened, apparently. I still take it would be too cold to sleep in the cave without winter gear. Correct? Like without a tent or anything.
I don't know. With that big old fire there, probably fine. Uncomfortable, but you're not gonna die.
If I was to put all... Okay, let me think. Well, we won't be able to make it down the mountain to the main camp and fight today. I don't think that's going to be possible. So we need to find a place to safely rest in between.
Well, don't you have people down the mountain at the second camp that you built?
Yes, we do. But if the beacon goes out, that means they would be alarmed in about like an hour or whatever. That we eradicated that camp. On the other hand, there was also a man coming down the mountain who was supposed to be patrolling towards the other camp, so they might know anyways. You know, the beacon might not even be the big thing. If they have like somebody who was supposed to go to the other camp and he doesn't show up, you know, that's just as good as a beacon. You would go looking for him, and then it's not a polar bear.
And if you stay up here, those people down the hill are fewer in number.
No, I think we will go back down the mountain. And we will take Robert's corpse with us. So it might slow us down a little bit, but we will move back to the other camp. If I had to take a good guess, another pathway that led down the other way of the mountain, where would I think that would lead? Because I do have direction sense, so I feel like, you know, I should be able to triangulate that at least, approximately.
Yeah. Well, I think you voiced this opinion out loud, and one of those spearmen who was circling around up top, like looking for any other people, will tell you that they found a couple of small trails that lead off that top area near the mine, and one of those might have been it. So it looks like there's the main path down, which is really easy going, and then there's a little bit of a small but rough trail heading down as well, and then a couple of other small rough trails. Maybe they go to other points of interest. Maybe they're just small game trails. But,
right, but probably one of them would lead down to our camp.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, lead down that way, roughly in the direction of your camp. It's not like a nice, easy switchback, you know?
Okay, we'll move everybody back to the intermediate camp that is a little bit further down the mountain.
Well, there are no more encounters this day. It goes fairly easily. And as you get back to the other camp, you can hear
one more
shouts.
thing. Can we take the wood axes with us?
Yeah, there were 2 of them.
Okay, and there were no provisions up there.
There were provisions.
Whatsoever.
There was food, there was water, there was a little bit of gear for all the people together. I guess we sort of glossed over their supplies, but
yeah,
they
because
did have
I feel
some
like
supplies.
I feel like I should be taking those supplies if I can, and since we didn't take the backpacks with us up, and the way down is easier, I feel like we should take some of those supplies back to the camp and carry them with us.
Yeah, you've got. Well, first off, how are we carrying Robert? Because hauling a body is hard work, especially when it's got chainmail and a shield and a spear.
Well, what kind of supplies do they have up there at the mountain? Do they have anything that would be, you know, make carrying easier? I feel like they probably do, because they still have to move from there to other places sometimes, right?
They have what I'm going to call makeshift blankets. It looks like sails that have been torn into shreds to work as individual blankets. They have a whole bunch of lumber that they've made, and some carefully carved, like not carefully carved, but some makeshift like lean-tos that they had set up outside for when someone needs to keep a watch outside of the area. There's some food, there's some water skins, there's a frying pan, and the remains of some rations. It looks like
rope,
sort of salted beef rope. No rope.
Okay, no rope. Okay. I believe we took some rope, though, if I'm not mistaken. Like, we left most of our gear, but we did take some rope. Would I be able, since Willa and I are both, what is it called? Rope use masters. I don't know what it's called. We have a rope proficiency, right? Rope use proficiency. That's it. Could we, with the rope and these like sail blankets that we find, could we bind those blankets to either like thinner, longer logs, right? Like cut down some branches and make like makeshift. I'm actually not sure what the word is in English. No way you can. Yeah, like a stretcher that we could use.
It won't be a problem. It'll take some time, but you can create a makeshift stretcher that can be hauled by 2 people, and then you can put Robert on there, and you can toss spears and bows and wood axes and shields on top of Robert's body, and use the litter / stretcher as something to haul him down with.
Okay.
Right. It's not a problem. You'll come down to the camp with a little bit of time to spare before sundown, and you will hear the shouts and cheers as the camp sees you returning, celebrating the return of you all coming down the mountain, until you bring in a prisoner and a body, and then the shouts and cheers sort of die away a little bit. There's some menacing looks towards your prisoner, Deco.
Mm-hmm.
And Deco just looks tired.
Oh, I bet he is. I bet he is.
Have you... Well, you know what? We're at our break point here. Why don't we come back on the other side of our break, and we'll see if there's any questioning or interrogation to be done with this newly found prisoner. Catch you all on the other side of our break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Rise of Drekis, Chapter 1, Episode 3. Our party is down the mountain. A new team member, and two casualties, 1 KIA. You're gathered around in the camp. Sun will set in maybe an hour, maybe a little less. But because you're already within the forest, the shadows are long, it's already dim and dark in here. There's a little fire going in order to keep warm and to keep animals at bay. Everyone's heard about the polar bear, and it's generally known, broadly speaking, animals don't like fire. They might be like, ooh, what's that light in the distance? But when they see fire going, animals generally don't approach fire. Fire bad, fire hurt, stay away from fire. Easy evolutionary trait. Here you are, down at the camp. And you've got Grippin, the excellent warrior, and you've got Deco, the mercenary. And Deco sees Grippin, and Grippin sees Deco, and there's like a bit of glare that goes between them for a moment, but it passes. What would you like to do?
So you said there's 1 more hour until the sun goes down, approximately, something like that?
Yeah.
How long would it take us to get back down the mountain?
This is down the mountain.
Oh, we are all the way down the mountain?
Yeah, you're down the mountain and at the camp that your people built at the bottom of the mountain.
Right. Because if I remember correctly, Grippin walked down this pathway, or in the direction of this pathway, to make it to the main camp, correct?
Yeah.
What did you say which direction the main camp would be from here?
It's been a full day. You probably don't remember. You could ask him again.
I'm not going to ask him again, Neal. Let me check my notes. If you want to wait, then we can wait. So he pointed opposite of the path up the mountain to the main camp. I'm not sure what cardinal direction we're going at, because I don't really have a... Can we go to the other map, like the overview map, so I can have an idea where we are and what's going on, and I'm not in a cave? Thank you. So, which part of the mountain are we at currently? Somewhere on the left-hand side, like here?
So
is the base camp?
Your base, I'm going to put a little star on it, is right here. And your secondary base, I'm going to put a square. Oh, but it needs to not be green. Green's not a good color for this. It needs to be yellow. Yeah, so the square is where you are right now, somewhere in this zone. This is your main camp.
Right, so if they came... And we went up the mountain to... I mean, this is a really tiny map. What was the highest spot? Is it right in, like, was it right here?
Yeah, it's near the top.
Okay, so I assume that...
Little path that did that.
Okay, so that was the path, and he came down here. So I assume it would be... I don't even know. So it might be somewhere around here. It might be at the coast, somewhere there. Okay. How long would it take us to get back to our camp from the bottom of the mountain, to our main camp from here?
More than an hour, definitely. Yeah. You wouldn't get there before nightfall, and it could get bad.
Okay. I guess you said there are trees here, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm working under the assumption that since Griffin hasn't shown up, these people are already informed anyways, or would at least send somebody to scout and then figure out, what happened. So I'm not too worried about it. It's pretty obvious what's gone down. There's no way to do this sneak yet. So we will just post. I'll already start posting guards for the mountain path and for just surrounding our camp. And then I will ask Willa if anybody of her people speaks Solemnese. By chance.
A great question with an extremely low probability of success. No one speaks Solemnese.
No, so nobody of all the people here. Okay. I'll ask. Sorry, what was his name again?
Oh?
I will ask Deco. Does he speak other languages?
He'll tell you he speaks Solemnese, and he speaks a little Drekisian, just enough to get by.
Okay, well we'll try in Drekisian then, I guess. I'll lead him away in a tent, so it's just him and I.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll sit him down. I'll give him a ration. One of ours, not the ones we've taken down the mountain. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, okay, Deco, you've decided to live today. What can you tell me about the deserters?
Everything is fucked. Ubar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where's the cleric?
He jerks his thumb in the eastward direction. Cleric.
So like here?
Somewhere over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cleric is in main base.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happened to the knights? I'll point at my shield. There were 2 knights.
Oh. 3.
Mm-hmm.
3 knights. Yeah. 4 knights. 4 knights. Yeah.
What happened?
Yak.
Yeah.
Yak and we come to Drekis. Make money, fight and kill bads.
Mm-hmm.
Easy job. Right? Queen person, say we go kill goblin? Easy. I kill goblin and sleep. No problem. On boat to goblins?
Mm-hmm.
Cleric say Queen is monster. Queen is badder guy than goblin guy. Now me, I don't care. I here to kill, I here to make money.
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, we good soldier. Cleric say no. Cleric say Queen super bad. And we honor ourselves by doing thing. So cleric and knights say we must do good thing, we must stop evil queen. Yak and rest say who care? Not our queen, not our problem. So big knight. Well, actually, she's very short. She's very short, but big knight. She say, my way or waterway, and fight. In process, we shove big knight, little knight, off boat, and she go to the bottom of sea. No more. Yep. And other knights, they do okay.
They do
Yak.
okay.
Well, Yak die. Higher sword die. Spearmen die. Lots of die. Boat people die. Lots of dead. We no get paid. Then, knights and spears with armor, more number than we. So we surrender. They say, we go stop queen. We tried to get boat to queen, but so many boat people dead that boat not work no more, and we crash. But now, it no matter what we think, all in same boat. Yeah.
And all out of same boat. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Now we work together, or you come and kill. So now, I no want to be here. I want to fight goblin. I want to be goblin stomping. But here we are. So, it's bad luck. Yeah.
I see. Do you think your other people, like, what was his commander's name again? Yak's people, would fight with us? Get off the island together?
Ilse is very right. Those who no fight, die. So I hope die with food in belly and warm. Mountain is balls.
Okay, so the knight, I point towards my shield and I say the short knight.
Yeah.
Did she work together with the cleric?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, they real close.
And when you at White Shore, you wanted to fight goblins?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then they said the queen is bad.
Yeah, super bad.
We have to turn around and fight the queen?
Fight queen, fix queen, tell queen? They no tell us. We knight and cleric us.
Okay, I understand. What is the beacon for on the mountain? The light.
Boat. Boat. Ship. Boat.
What boat? What ship? The other ship is broken.
Yeah.
What ship?
Cleric say boat come, and we put beacon, facing we sea beacon, not land beacon.
Down right.
Yeah, so boat sea and come, and then we get on boat and go.
When?
All fucked up. No makes sense.
That boat, is that from Solemn? From Drekis? What boat?
I don't know. You talk to Elise. You'll say.
It's okay. Language is hard sometimes.
This guy's, second language. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to pronounce names. It's
Right?
just...
Well, look, it's
all right.
It could easily be Elise. It makes perfect sense. If you pronounce the I as an E, which you could, sometimes in English, I's are E's. Don't make that face. It's true.
Sometimes in English, I's are E's.
English is a bad language. Okay.
Well, never mind. Let's not get into it. Right. So, and okay. So one kill is dead. That was the captain. That's what I got from him. So that is entirely the same thing as Grippen told me. Yak died. So we still technically have Heidi Siki died according to Yak as well, if I remember correctly. So 2 knights left.
You asking him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, 4 knight, small one, go over boat, in water, no more. Other knight, wound, hurt. 2 other, okay. Hurt knight, no make.
And the 2 other knights, the goblin stompins.
Yes, I like. Huh?
Yeah. They work with Ilsa.
Yes.
I think you can hear Elaine sharply inhale in that tent where it's just so dead quiet around them. We have 2 goblin stompers on the team who refuse to stomp goblins, so that is infuriating, if you ask me. You know, I think that's like, why even have that name if you turn around and become a deserter afterwards? That is ridiculous. Right. I'll say, how many still at your camp then? 2 knights, right? Yeah, what does he say? Like 2 knights? How many you people?
Long
Drekis,
sigh,
Solomise?
followed by Solomise. There are 10 and 5.
10 and 5.
Yeah.
2 camps. Oh, 15. 15. Okay, so 5 and 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. 15 people. And Drekisian, 2 knights. Ilse.
Yeah.
And?
Yep. Oh, and 10 and 10. Well, I mean, 10 and 5 and me. Well, 10, 5 know me. And 10 and 10 and Grippen, and he just names the other people that were up there.
Okay, so not up there, right? Just in the big camp.
Okay. It is 10 and 3 Drekis, and 10 and 4 Gollum.
That is way more people than it even should be. There were 10 total mercenaries. How are there 14 Solomese people?
What you mean?
Well, on the boat, initially, there were 20 soldiers from Drekis and 10 mercenaries from Solom.
No, there were 30.
That's what my list said.
Yeah. That PDF I sent you?
Yeah, but when I asked on the boat, right?
Oh, I see.
Then on the boat they said there were 20 soldiers left and 10 Solomese people, right? And now we have 27 people plus the, how many did we kill up there? 5, you said? No.
It's 13 Drekisians and 14 Solamese. Or 20 total, and 20 and 15. Yeah. So you are getting differing numbers between the people on the boat and this guy.
Well, they saw them get off the boat, though.
Yep.
And we already captured one, and we killed another one. Where are all these extra people coming from?
You know, these are fantastic questions to be asking.
My guess is you didn't note it down, Neal, and now we're just winging it. But let's go with.
There's a mystery here. Clearly, the DM
Oh yes,
up.
there's a mystery. There's a mystery.
Something doesn't add up. The DM must have made a mistake. That's what it is.
Okay, so let's just say I'm going with the most accurate thing which is Deco can't count.
Can't count.
We're just going to assume if I had to put my money on somebody who regularly ships people across, right? Whose job is to deliver cargo, I would assume they can count better than somebody who has trouble expressing themselves. You know, so I'm just going with this guy probably has no idea, so we can't take that information. What is important is Ilse is there. She works together with the Goblin Stompers.
Yeah.
Who are also culpable, so there's no way we can pull them on our side, and they haven't been. Well, it was said they were forced to leave the boat, but it seems like at some point at least they must have agreed to work together with the cleric. And then we don't really know. There should be way fewer people based on who we lost.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the first number. So if 20 soldiers and 10 mercenaries survived, and then he said we lost about 2 mercenaries up there. That might be like, I think they were probably the axe fighters, is my guess. There were 2 dead axe fighters up there, correct?
Yep.
One dead and one person is Gecko. Like one dead axe fighter?
There were 2 men with wood axes chopping trees, and they are dead.
Right, and the proper... right, and he was the only one with the axe in the cave and survived.
Yes.
Deco himself. Okay.
Yes.
So up there we had 2 dead axe people, 1 dead bowman, the person Deco killed, and I think that's it, right?
The
and we
log
killed
carriers and the people inside. Yeah, there were 2 log carriers, 2 internal spearmen, Deco,
1 bowman,
1
Deco,
bowman, and 2 woodcutters.
Right.
8
7, people.
That's 7. Right?
So, one more time. There are 2 people with the log, 1 guy with the bow who like stood guard.
Yeah.
Right?
2 log carriers.
Then we already had I just said 2 log carriers.
The woodcutters and the log carriers are 2 separate groups of people.
Okay, so 2 log carriers, 2 woodcutters, 1 guy with the bow. Deco was up there. Is that all of them?
No, and then the 2 people inside with bow.
And 2,
spears.
so 8 people.
8 people.
Okay, that's 8. Yes.
8. Okay.
So that's 8 people. So out of the 30, we would now be having approximately 20 because 1 we arrested and 1 we killed on top. So we'd be at around 20 people.
That's not a bad math.
Plus, we don't know how many people they lost in between. Like, they tried fighting a polar bear and stuff. They probably lost some people to starvation and other things. It's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So 22 people, 2 cows, and a crazy cleric out of their mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is time?
I think so. Yeah. I said
okay. He stands up, stretches, and walks out of the tent.
Right. I'll come with him.
Yep. Looks around. He finds a makeshift stool or chair made out of like a stump of where a tree was felled, and gets down on his knees in front of it and lays his head across the stump.
Okay, I'll say I'll take a deep breath. Are my people around?
Yeah, everyone sees the two of you go inside, and then there's talking, and these like long, deep sighs of frustration. And then this guy like boldly walks out and lays down in front of the tree.
Right.
Then, as he waits, he pats his belly because he got some, nice warm food that you fed him, some of the Drekisian rations. Not gonna die in a cold, freezing cave.
Ooh. Okay. I will step next to him. I'll take one of I guess the woodcutter's axes are pretty sharp. Yeah, would they be working for decapitation?
Yeah, they could definitely be working for decapitation. And this guy's already injured. He's at low HP. Just, don't miss your attack. There are plenty of horror stories from the medieval period where executioners did not succeed on the first attempt and needed multiple attempts to cut someone's head off. It is not as easy as it sounds, especially if the victim moves a little bit. So, attack roll at +6 or something against AC 10. Don't. 6, and then you've got 2 for level, so I think that's D20 +8 for you. So just don't roll a 1, actually. Fine, it'll be fine. You're not drunk. Oftentimes executioners of the past were. It's a hard, unfavorable job. Negative place in society. Killing a lot of people and having to live with it. Lots of drinking for executioners. You're sober. It'll be easy to remember this.
Yeah, that is probably the hard part. So, I think Elaine really takes her time. She checks the stump with her boot, makes sure it's like heavy enough to hold Deco's weight. She paces around. She picks up the wood axe. She balances in her arms. She's trying to find a good grip for it. And
but you're not proficient in battle axe or wood axe, are you? You don't have any
axe
not
proficiencies.
All right. So you have a penalty of 2.
Do we have
Just
anybody?
don't roll a 3. Just don't roll a 3.
Oh god, I don't. Okay. Anyways, I'm not quite done yet. So I think what you have to realize is that the punishment for deserters is death. Okay, it's not negotiable.
Yeah.
Right, we're in post-war time. Resources are thin, and there's no such thing as we will bring people with us and then we're going to plead for their lives. And Elaine is a noble. She's aware of how class and stand changes perception, and Deco is a normal guy who's just trying to make a living, right? This man has, in Elaine's eyes, a 0 chance. So either he dies on this island or he goes back to Drekis and he gets killed there. Right?
Yeah.
There's no mercy for deserters, even if you were forced to do it, if you were pressured to do it, and no matter what she said, all she can do is give them a hopefully quick and merciful death. But I think that Elaine does have some respect for somebody who is a true fighter. Somebody who was just trying to do their job. And she's experienced this island as a very harsh environment, and she understands, right, what happened here. But if you're a soldier, then you know the risks, and you know what your job is.
Yeah.
And, whether it be death or life, like you know what the consequences are. And the second we start making exceptions for everybody, we fall apart as a structure, right? And as an army, there's never been a time where we needed to be more united, where we needed to be more harsh to people who are cowards, who run, and who leave their people, who like just leave their people behind, right? She has a great respect for the Solomese person, because they try to do what was right, and she understands that the Solomese don't have that attachment to the Drekisian army. You know, yes, they work for them, but of course there's entirely the sense of worth for fighting for your country or for fighting for money. You know, that gives you a different purpose. So she does understand that. But she also knows that she's the commander, and if she doesn't do her job, and if she's not the epitome of I believe in my country, I believe in my queen, right? Then everything around her will start to crumble. She remembers back then when Gregor took her to the side and said, do you think that's true? Do you think there's something wrong with the queen? Right? And that's how it starts. It starts with the whispers. It starts with the rumors. So even if you have a smidgen of doubt, right, you cannot act on it. And that was the big mistake this cleric made. You know, they had the doubt, and maybe they have the proof, whatever, right? But they acted on it, and they brought so many people into trouble because they acted like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if your intention is good, if you break the order, you might put so many people at risk. So with a heavy heart, Elaine will look at Deco and will say, Deco, do you have any last words?
What?
Last words before you part? Like, I love my wife. I miss my children.
You married?
I love fighting. No. I shake my head. I point towards the axe.
Yeah. And he will give a short speech in Solomese. No idea what it says. It's in his native tongue.
Okay. And I'll turn towards my people and I'll say, once the axe has fallen, there will be no cheering. There will be just quiet. Do you understand?
There's nodding around the camp, and you can see Grippin, who was like trying to maybe make his way out of camp while everyone's attention was turned to this, but has been like grabbed by a pair of people. And you can see that at first he was like, "Oh, they're here to help us. They're gonna take us to this other. They're on our side." And now he's like, "Oh, wait a minute.
Like, oh,
oh, wait a minute. I thought they were. Oh, it's turning in his head."
Yeah. I will look over at him. Just for a moment, I won't say anything. And then I will raise the axe and I will try to decapitate Deco as swiftly as I can.
Well, don't roll a 1, 2, or a 3 on a d20. It would be fine.
Okay. No matter what happens, I would like to describe the outcome. Is that okay?
Yes. Announce the die roll and describe the outcome.
If I roll a, what did you say, 1, 2, or 3?
Aye.
If I roll a 1, 2, or 3, means I hurt him, but I don't kill him. Is that correct?
It's not a clean cut. You know, you hit him in the shoulder. You might do enough damage to kill him, but it won't be a clean decapitation. It'll be like it takes a minute to bleed out, and you might want to like kind of finish it more quickly.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to raise the woodcutter's axe and I'll say, in the name of the Drekisian Empress and the Drekisian army, I, Elaine Pentelin, declare that you shall die for being a traitor, and I will chop down with the giant wood axe. And Elaine has sweaty hands, right? Like the steel of that axe feels incredibly cold. And for a second, it looks like she might almost miss, but she takes one tiny step back, wavers a little bit, and then the axe comes crushing down, severing Deco's head from his body, and it falls down into the snow, leaving behind a shocked expression when the head stops rolling.
One of the soldiers who's got a hand on Grippin roughly shoves him forward in the direction of the stump. And the ranks sort of close in to make sure there's no escape for him.
Okay. I will force... Oh, Jesus. I will force Grippin to his knees. Okay. Does he have hair? Does he have long hair or short hair, or is he like, I don't know what his hair is like? I never asked.
His hairstyle is sort of just a little bit shaggy, or it would have been, but he's been on this island for a couple months now, so it's like a little bit longer. It comes almost all the way down to his shoulders. But he looks up at you and he's like, "But I thought we were gonna save the Empire. I thought you understood."
I'll put a hand on his shoulder. Okay.
The Queen works with demons.
And I'll say, have a good look, soldiers. Sometimes good people are being led astray by promises and by lies and by just rumors. And
it's
because
not a rumor. It's a cleric of Mathis.
I'll gently put my glove over his mouth with the other hand, so like there's one hand on the shoulder and one is like on his mouth.
He begins to struggle, and some of your assistants come and help restrain the man.
Very good. And I'll say, we're not here to judge character. We're here to judge actions. Okay? So, whether you're Solomese and you're part of our army, or whether you're from Drekis and you're part of our army, we follow the same code. And I'll look down at him and I'll say, Grippin, do you have any last words? And think about them well, because they should not be addressed towards me.
I'm going to give Grippin a morale check. See if he can retain his composure at the end, or if he will go crying and begging. Close, Grippin. He looks up at you. Hold on, you don't understand. No, there's been a mistake. The cleric. The cleric said that the queen has been possessed by demons. This entire war is illegal. It's in everyone's best interest. And, the people beside him tug him to the stump.
We'll force him down on the stump. I'll make sure not to hit anybody of my people with the chop.
Now, Deco was cooperating. He wasn't moving. Grippin isn't cooperating. So instead of the bonus of 6, it's just a bonus of 4, which means you need a 5 or better on a d20. This is why if you're going to be executed, you cooperate with your execution. I mean, if you want to. We'll make it a little easier.
At least if it's your first time. Okay. Right, so they are holding Grippin down.
Heads well out of the way, tugging his shoulders to.
And Elaine takes a deep breath. So nobody is dying today who didn't have a full belly, at least not in this camp. Like they might have tricked Grippin, but they also didn't just torture him or anything like that. So he has a similar death to the Solomese one. And I'll say, okay. Gripen of the army of Drekis. I, Elaine Pentalin, execute you in the name of the Empress of Drekis for being a traitor. 16.
Perfect. It cleanly cuts through his head, which rolls to the side. The others let go as the body slumps next to Deco's. Camp is quiet. Talked about earlier how these soldiers are fairly green recruits, except for the sub-commander. And there's been some combat, you know. They, in a extremely one-sided fight against a person with only a short sword, they shot down one person. There was a battle against a polar bear in which their leader knight tanked the battle and fought the polar bear off. Not quite single-handedly, but you know, really held that line for them. And today is most of these people's first time in real combat. First time seeing one of their own dead or wounded, and facing the reality of what we're here to do, which is deal with these deserters. Very somber, sobering moment for anyone that had the illusions of
Grandeur?
Grandeur, or that this would be like an easy cakewalk. Now, there's so many of us, and we've got this night, and we're going to deal with these deserters who are probably half starved, and now it's like, okay, wait a minute. Robert's dead, and Barb is wounded and probably not going to be able to fight. Leader is badly wounded, but is still fighting, and it'll be a quiet night in camp for the rest of the night.
I think I would address the people for like one or two for a tiny speech at least. I'll look at them because it's something pretty grave that just happens. I'll look at them and I'll say, today was a day where today was a day that caused a lot of anger. And some of you might be scared, even if you as proud Drekisians are unable to admit it. I point towards Robert's corpse, like he's still on the stretcher, I assume, and I say, Robert died today for all of us, for the things we believe in, and for making our empire a better place for, everybody, for our families, for the people around us, for the simple folk who can't defend themselves. And I point towards, like, the other two corpses that have been decapitated, and I say, whenever we stagger in our beliefs, whenever we give in to the rumors, the worst things happen to us and the people we are supposed to protect. I want you to remember that. As long as we stick together and fight for each other and fight for what is right, it will always be the difference between us here and them over there. Which is a little bit, there's a little bit of irony in it when you think about it, because technically they're all three dead. But two of them are decapitated and one guy just died in battle, But what you make of that in the end, is your part.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll leave the other two at the side of the camp, I guess. And Robert will be covered, and we'll take him with us when we leave tomorrow.
We're going to go to our break. We'll come back on the other side with a little more Rise of Drekis. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rise of Drekis. We're going to continue our camp. But we're going to start off that night. It's been the 8th day was today, going up and down the mountain, execution, questioning. Pick up this evening after the camp settles down. Guards are posted, and it's Elaine. I think your tent is pretty full with people here, right? You took 3 tents. And so you're bunking with other folks, but yeah, you do.
I think Elaine is just lying on her back, covered in all the blankets she could find. She probably has a cloak still on top because it's the warmest thing she has with her. She's listening to the people around her shuffling in their sleep, snoring, groaning if they're wounded, you know. And she's just looking up. And I think the weight of today is really what keeps her up. And for a short moment, she feels a little bit out of her depth. You know, today she was proper judge, jury, and executioner. And it's very different if you kill somebody in combat, where it's you or me situation, or whether you kill someone who can't defend themselves because you're the executioner. And I think she clams up a little bit, right? Because it's the first time she's done it. And obviously she has nobody to talk to about these things. What is it like to be a first-time leader? What is it like to make these really tough decisions? But Elaine is not a cold-hearted person. You know, she does believe that that the things she does are right. But it's not like this doesn't affect her at all. And she closes her eyes for a moment, and she remembers a moment back home when she was still young, right, and was having trouble adjusting, was being made fun of by her siblings and all these things. And she was outside, sitting in front of a small well, and her father passed by and saw her just sitting down there, pretty miserable. And I said, Elaine, what are you crying for? And Lily Lane just looked at him, and she was a mess. You know, like the hair was everywhere, and there was dirt on her face, and there were tears streaming down. And she said, well, the others made fun of me. They said I'll never be as good as them. Right? And obviously, Elaine knew that she was different because she's a half-elf, and she's the bastard of the family. And her father looked at her and put like a firm hand on her shoulder, and he said, you know, Elaine, sometimes we can't change what we are, but we can still strive to do better. And he gave her a stern look, and then he just took his hand off the crying girl's shoulder, turned around, and kept on walking. And in that night, Elaine remembers that scene. So she swallows down, you know, that frog she has in her throat, takes a deep breath, and just lets go of that slight pain she feels in that night, and then she drifts off to sleep.
Well, the morning will come. Camp will get broken down. You've said you wanted to head back to your big camp with the bodies and the equipment, the extra
body. We're leaving the deserters behind. We're taking Robert.
Are we leaving them where they fell, or are we?
We are leaving them where they fell. No, we're not stringing that. We're leaving them where they fell. We'll cover them in snow. And we leave the chopping block a little bit like their headstone, with that one woodcutter's axe. We'll leave that behind.
Okay. Gonna get an extra 10 arrows, an extra 1 bow, an extra battle axe, an extra 30 rations. I think I already updated. 4 spears, 2 hatchets, 2 wood axes. Lots of gear. And then with Robert's body, head back to camp. Roll me a D100 for encounters, and do not roll low.
41.
It's fine. It's fine. And roll me a 2d8 for the weather.
Oh no, not that one. 6?
That's good. Low is good. 6 is a light day. There's not a lot of wind. It's just a little bit. It's not calm, but there's just a gentle breeze. And you can march. It's not hard to find your way back. It hasn't snowed in a little while, so that trail that you made the day before yesterday is still here. And it's not a big island. The mountain there, you just kind of follow around. And before you know it, hours will pass, marching through the snow, and you arrive back at camp. Appropriate.
Not the halfling one.
Oh,
good.
We can come back to camp, and I've rearranged our platoons into their appropriate shapes. One is at full strength. All the archers are happy. One has 1 injured person, and one has 1 dead person, plus the 5 sailors across.
Is the captain still alive when we return to camp, or has he passed by now?
Oh, the captain's gone.
All right. I take it they've probably they've probably buried him in the meantime.
Yes.
Or do they just have him in the tent? That sounds dangerous.
They have put him under some snow and put a little marker above him because they want to take his body back when all is said and done.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
What do you do with Robert? Pour him in the ice in a similar way, or put him in the ground for good?
No, we'll do the same thing. We'll put him next to the captain. Put a marker up. I guess I will. 18 is that Gregor? Let me check real quick.
That's Carl.
Carl. Okay, I'll tell Carl to bury him with his men because it's part of his platoon.
Yep. Done. Easy peasy.
And I'll ask them what has happened in the camp while we were gone.
Not to report. No sign of monsters, no sign of the enemy. Just holding tight and improving our shelters.
Okay.
What happened out there? Because, you brought back a dead body and some extra gear.
All the way up. I will gather the people around, I guess, while we're having breakfast during breakfast shift.
Yep.
And then I guess the other commanders can update people as they go along, and I'll tell them that we found some of the deserters all the way up the mountain, that they had a beacon and were trying to signal a ship. That they were pretty weakened, emaciated, and couldn't fight back properly. And that apparently there's another main camp which is down the southeast part of the mountain.
Okay.
All right. And nobody was spotted coming down the small mountain pass either, correct?
Correct.
Because I had guards up looking. Okay, fair enough. Can I? Oh, there's the big map. Okay. What are you rolling for?
Nothing. Don't even worry about it.
Nothing.
It's fine.
Okay.
Well, what's the plan, Captain? Lieutenant, I should say. You got... Today is day 9. Well, today was day 9 of marching. So... got 21 days left until the ship returns, thereabouts.
Well, there's no other camps. There's just that main camp that's waiting. And they know we are here. And they know we are not friendly. I think we should still scout for where that camp is exactly. And then we'll probably launch a big attack on that camp. I think that's what we probably have to do. See if there are any patrols going in or out, and if there are patrols, if we are able to catch like 1 or 2 before they head back. But they might just stop patrolling since they know we're coming anyways. So
yeah,
we'll have to figure that out if we still have a chance to pick somebody off or not.
Well, if you're going to scout, there are a few things to consider. Movement speed. If your people are in armor with their shields, they're going to be going slowly. If they're just running around with a spear or short sword, they'll be much, much faster. There's numbers. The more of you there are, the easier you are to spot. And the smaller groups you travel in, the faster you will go and the more ground you can cover. So is this a send one large like reconnaissance and force to scout it out and then pull back? Or is this, send out a bunch of people in small numbers, wait for them to report? This, you do it yourself? How do you want to handle? Because if you just say, like, I'm going to send minions under however you want to do it, we can just roll some dice and pass some time and get some answers. But if you want to lead a force yourself, it'll be careful.
But we don't really have anybody who's a specialized scout. It's not like there are many people who are that much better anyways, or that much more suited for the job. So I think I will do the scouting together with Willa.
If you stick and let other people scout, you can regain HP in camp.
Well, it's 1 per day,
Yeah, but if they go for a day, that's an HP. They go for 2 days, that's 2 HP.
Well, you can walk across the entire island in 1 day. If they're gone for 2 days, they're probably dead or captured.
Sure, but
or
maybe they
stuck in a snowstorm.
And then you send them out again the next day. Like, there's room for all sorts of things to happen. I just want us to understand the bonuses and the penalties and all the things that can be gained or lost. Different approaches.
Well, you also have to keep in mind, we have no idea when this boat is ever going to arrive. If that ship comes here, there are soldiers on there, we are dead. Every single one of us. Okay, so, I mean, it's not a super real risk just because we haven't seen any yet. But it is a potential threat. Like, we don't know what the time frame is, really. It's a tough situation. So, if I remember correctly, approximately here was where that weird fort was. The ghost, like I call it the ghost fort. There's not a ghost fort, don't worry, people. But the ghost fort, our fort. We did explore down here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the only part we're missing is the longish part of the island and this side.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will go. I'll go with them. I'm not taking a break. Or am I taking a break? 1 HP? A whole day? No, fuck it. No. I'll go with them. It's me, Willa. What is considered a smaller, less spottable group? 4 people?
4 people is a pretty manageable group. That is less spottable. I think when you hit 8, between 4 and 8 would be the next large chunk, and then 16 is the next large chunk.
Well,
it's going to be you and Willa.
I'll go with me, Willa, and 2 spearmen. So they can like form their 2-man wall. And I'll take Gregor as well because he's better at... he's a wiser man than I am. And if we encounter anything like that, then, you know.
Is that Gregor replacing one of the spearmen?
He is a spearman himself, right? So, yeah, that works for me. So Gregor, Willa, 1... me, Gregor, Willa, and 1 bowman?
You, Gregor, Willa, and 1 bowman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we see up here.
Yes, so actually I'll just take Julia. She's been with us before, so Gregor, Willa, Julia, me. We're taking a tent. Is that possible? Do the rest of the people still fit in if we take 1 tent?
Yeah, 1 tent holds 4 people, so that's fine.
Okay, so we'll take tent rations for 2 days. And I think that's it. Yeah. I'll take my rope, but otherwise I don't think we'll take anything extra. Rope and my tinderbox. I keep adding on stuff. So rope, tinderbox, the tent. Everybody takes their weapons. And I refill my torch, I guess. My lantern. If it's...
Right. Rope, tinderbox, tent, lantern, oil. You said rations
weapons.
for 2 days?
Yep.
Right. And we're leaving everyone else behind in the protection of Carl, who has sort of become the
camp manager.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's probably gotten pretty good at it as well over time, you know?
Yeah. Days. That's all right.
He's done well so far.
All right. Well, it's a small island. Which way would you like to go? You could go south or north.
I would like to go north.
And well,
but this time not like through the woods, but like closer to the mountain, because this area we have explored a little bit already. So rather like here, and we're on the lookout. Okay, we're on the lookout for large hulking creatures with thick fur walking around in the forest.
Little Sasquatch hunt. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
No, not hunt. You know, Sasquatch avoidance trip. You know, if we see a Sasquatch, we do not hunt. We avoid. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then. Would you roll me day 10 when you set out? Because you get back, you rest that night. Set up the next day. Roll me a D100.
With pleasure. 26.
And would you a 2d6, not 2d6.
9.
Same weather as before. Gentle light wind. That big. mild penalties. We're gonna head north. We're gonna hug. We're gonna go with 2 of our 2nd level fighters. Yeah, you hug the mountain, sticking pretty close to it. The group is sort of quiet. Willa has been with you everywhere you've gone. Gregor has been back at camp, so he missed all the excitement and gets caught up on it during the hike. She's the only low-ranking in this party. Easy. You're bringing all your weapons and armor. That's a pretty easy, relatively easy trudge mountain. Until you come to a narrow little point area, which looks, once you get a little bit past it, it looks very much like that ghost town that you abandoned. That was somewhere right in this area over here. And when you come around and past, you can look back along, get to a point where the coast is sort of near where the hill begins to rise, and you don't want to be walking uphill and down and up and down all day. So skirting the edge of the mountain, you come to a sea, and looking up the coast, you can see, like, oh yeah, that abandoned, unfinished set of buildings is right up that way. Here, you can see that there is a peninsula that extends for many miles, or there is the rest of the way around the mountain. Woods, oak, where and the rest of the way around the mountain. Which way would you like to go?
So I feel like if you were to signal a ship to pick you up, and your signal is visible in the southeastern corridor here, quadrant, right? Mm-hmm. Then it would make sense that your camp would also be in that quadrant. You know, I feel like. So first I'm going to explore the longish part of the island.
Okay. All right. Our party moves out along this long peninsula, and you're going to travel, well, you can travel along the coast if you would like, or you can try and travel up the middle, or you could try to cross to the other coastline and travel up that side. How would you like to do this?
When you say up the middle, does the terrain rise in the middle?
A little bit, but it's not like it's not a great crest. It's not like perfectly flat, but there is some, uphillness to it. It's a bit of a bulge.
Yeah, we'll walk along the bulge, Neal.
Okay. You'll go through a forest for a little ways, and then the forest will end, and you'll go through some open terrain, mostly open, where you can see water on either side of you. There's another forest, and then some open terrain. And
any tracks by anything?
There
any
are
animals?
Small tracks of small woodland creatures. Maybe there's squirrel tracks. You haven't seen any birds, but maybe there's bird tracks. There are some little things here and there, but nothing that looks humanoid. Nothing that looks human. Nothing that looks like a yeti or a polar bear. Down by the beach, you do see disturbances in the sand. That could just be like seals coming up onto shore, or polar bears that have they tend to swim and go from island to island and hunt food that way. So maybe there were polar bears that came on the shore and then went back into the water. But none of the sandy marks come up onto the snow. And you've also observed some oddities of the weather here, where it might snow and the snow will stack in some areas, but not other areas. So it's there's a question mark on how much tracks remain in the snow. Like, you followed the 15 people or whatever you brought tracks out to that other camp you made, and they were still there when you went back the next day. But other times they seem to disappear rather quickly. So no tracks in the snow that would be concerning. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Elaine will look down towards the beach for a moment, and in her mind she just imagines what it is like if you're trudging along the beach and then a polar bear pops out of the water, coming, from his hand. And so she's like, we're going back the way we came. We're not walking around the beach. It's not happening.
But you are still going all the way down the peninsula, yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent.
We'll have a look.
Yeah. Well, you can get to the end of the peninsula by, not quite the end of the day, but a little bit before the sun is going to go down. It'll be setting in the west like it always does, with a nice, beautiful view. Maybe in the far distance, if it's a really clear day, you might be able to see some, mountains of Arcadia. Maybe just on the horizon, or maybe it's just like a low-flying cloud that you're tricking yourself into thinking is Wicklamdo. And yeah, that'll be about it. Not much to see today, just a long, slow, quiet walk through the snow. Ending.
All right, I guess we'll set up the tent here then.
Yep. You can make camp.
No tracks.
It's fine. It's fine.
That's why Neal changes the music, because it's fine. Just wait.
It's fine. Oh, whew. Got my ones and tens places mixed up. The next day, it sounds like the party is going to do the other thing and come down the peninsula and circle around the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On the lookout for anything we see that might indicate that people have chopped down wood, or, been on the hunt, or things like that would indicate we're somewhat close to a camp.
Yeah, well, as you come down the peninsula, following the same path that you made yesterday, it seems pretty obvious in the forested areas and in the open areas that your tracks from yesterday are almost entirely gone. But under the trees, they're still there. You can follow those. Excuse me. As you come down and start heading south, putting yourselves between the mountain and the sea, you will quickly come across signs of civilization. You will see an area where a bunch of trees have been felled in close order to one another. And as you're observing the place, you can see down to the beach nearby are the signs of many a footprint, human-looking footprints with boot marks on them. You're observing these from 100 meters out, so you're not getting it in any great detail, but it's unmistakably signs of humanoids. Man-sized humanoids, not yetis.
Right. And we are approximately here?
Approximately here-ish. Yeah, somewhere right over in this zone.
Mm-hmm. And you said there's an area that looks like they've chopped wood?
Yeah, it's at one of the, because there are areas of fairly dense woods, and then there's areas of like light woods, and it's one of in these slightly light wooden areas where a bunch of trees have been felled. There's no drag marks, so they must have been felled a while ago. And the logs are gone. So,
I mean, either they were felled a while ago, or the snow just covered this place up again really quickly. We never know. Can I tell by I can only see the trees, right? Like I'm standing way back. We're 100 feet away, so I guess we can't see them up
The
close
beach is like
now.
100 meters off, 100 yards off. The trees are things that you've come across. You're walking, and then you look and you notice that it's like a little mound of snow, but at the peak of the mound of snow is the like white heartwood of a tree that has been felled. And so you don't notice the felled trees until you're upon them already.
Okay. Can we have a look at the felled trees and see if it looks like, that was a recent thing? Is the wood still light in color, or, does it look like it's rotting away?
It's not rotting away. I don't know if you rich city girl coming from nice noble families knows what a recently or old felled tree stump might look like. You're not a forester or a woodsman.
But I did come across a lot of felled trees in this expedition, yeah?
Yeah, but it's been like 10 days. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to tell if it's been like a day or a month or, 3 months. It's a tree stump. How would you know? I couldn't tell. I'd have spent more time in the woods than a lane.
Between a day and a month? Of course you can tell. Have you chopped wood?
I have never felled a tree myself.
And it's like freshly cut down, like I don't know what you call it, but the wood itself is very, very light if it's freshly felled. And you might also get some still sticky sap like straight on the bark. And that doesn't stay for a month.
If you're in a nice warm condition, that might be the case. But if you're in freezing weather, unless it's like a maple tree or something, that sap will harden pretty fast. I don't know if Elaine has this information.
Okay. Well, let's just continue on through the wooded area, skulking forwards. Like
not going down to the beach
where there's still any... Why would you go down to the beach? What?
There were signs of civilization.
Did you say? No, Well, can we get... I don't know. Are we at the very edge of the forest and the beach is down there? Is there a way that we can try to scout for a vantage point that gives us a better view of the beach?
You were going through the lightly wooded section, so it's not particularly dense. You can see, a half kilometer in all directions. It's a third of a mile for the rest of you. Yeah. So you could get down to the beach, probably. Or you could send yourself or someone to crawl through the snow and creep up to whatever ledge might overlook the beach. Or maybe it's just a gentle downhill. But you can't, the whole path is not visible from where you are. But you could get a little closer. You could just walk on over. You could have someone crawl through the snow. You could avoid it.
I think I'll avoid it and make my way further through the forest. I don't care too much about the beach itself right now. Okay. I feel like if you made a camp at the beach, you would probably press it straight against the wall, right, of the cliff. And that means if you're looking down like you're straight over the cliff, hanging there with your head down, because you wouldn't be like making the camp at the shore. So I think it just sounds like a risk to crawl all the way up. So we'll just keep exploring and see.
And when you march, what is the marching order? If we scroll back up, is it Elaine in the front, followed by... How would you arrange your party?
I think it would be... This time will be Gregor in the front, then Elaine, then the bowman, then the spearman, and then Willa in the back.
You just named 5 people, but there's only 4 of you.
Oh, sorry. Not that we don't have a spearman, so no. Scratch the spearman. So it would be Gregor in the front, then the bowman. Sorry. One more time. It would be Gregor in the front, then it would be me. Then it would be the bow person, and then it would be Willa.
Perfect. Excellent. All right.
Not bad.
It's all good. This is Gregor in the front. Poor 12 HP Gregor. And what was his backstory? He signed up because he wanted to save his, protect his people. Was that his? Am I remembering this right? Gregor. No, Gregor is the son of the son to servants in the castle of Ralwick. He grew up with the expectation.
He just wanted to be an accountant. That's what he wanted to do.
he was supposed to serve the next, ruler of Ralwick as his friend and as his advisor. He's got a non-weapon proficiency in administration and horseback riding and reading and writing. Like, he's supposed to be the assistant, but his castle got burned and the people that he was supposed to be working with all died. And so as a stern follower of Astaire, he decided, well, I can't do that anymore. I'm going to join up over here. And Gregor has 14 dexterity, which is really important in this situation, because as he is walking across through the snow, there is the sound of ice cracking underneath his feet. And our dear friend Gregor is going to need to make me a dexterity check.
Do I make the check for him?
Yes, please. 22. That is a success.
My
Gregor
boy
will hear the ice cracking, scramble, and throw himself forward as the section that he's walking over begins to crumble and fall into an icy crevasse under his feet. Gregor is on the other side of the crevasse. You're on your side of the crevasse. It's not huge. It's only like 5 feet across. But when you're encumbered and trudging through snow, jumping 5 feet is not necessarily easy. Your grip is not stellar. You don't actually know where the edge of that crevasse is. And the gear that encumbers you makes your jumping difficult. Not to mention the sound of the ice breaking and then tumbling and hitting the sides of this crevasse. That goes for a little bit. The snow does absorb sound pretty well, but someone within 60, maybe 100 feet would have noticed.
Okay.
Good thing Gregor was in front today, because that's a dangerous moment right there, Elaine. What's your dex, out of curiosity?
My dex is okay. It's not terrible. Let's see. Too many character sheets. My dex is 13.
Okay. Well, you would have passed that same check, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, if I understand correctly, there's a crevasse. There's no left or right to this.
Oh, no, there's totally left or right. Yeah, the crevasse just, from what you see, because you just see snow, and then there's a chunk where it's fallen away, sort of like a sinkhole. And to the crevasse only extends like 20 feet that you can see, but maybe underneath the snow, there's more like thin ice with the crevasse underneath that you just can't, you don't really know how far the break extends. You just know that right here, there's a hole. It's probably fine. You could probably just walk 20 feet to either side and walk past it.
Are there trees on either side, to the left or the right?
No, you're in this lightly wooded area. There are like some trees about, but there's nothing right there.
Well, where's the next tree from here if I look to the left and right?
Well, let me give you a quick doodle here, because we're getting into some awkward zones. If we say that this blue that I'm about to draw represents the icy crevasse. Yeah. And we're looking left to right. There's also, there's like a tree over here, and there's like a tree over here, and there's, maybe a tree a little bit further down, and maybe, a tree a little bit further up. So like there are trees to the left and right. So technically the closest tree is 20 feet away. Yeah.
But there's no tree that would be approximately in line with this.
Not for a while. Yeah. And at that point, like, if there were a tree 100 feet away right here, like maybe that crevasse does extend in a straight line, or maybe it curves and crooks. It's hard to, who knows what who knows? There's not a clear safe point, unfortunately.
Right.
And with the snow covering the ground, I'm sure no one heard. It's fine.
How deep is that crevasse? If I look at
How close do you want to
Okay,
look?
tell me.
How close do you want to
never
get to
mind.
look in?
I don't even care. So I'm going to go to. I'll tell Gregor to get to one of the trees and go into cover, and we'll walk around the right-hand side of the crevasse to where like that first tree was.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay.
On the right-hand side, and we'll try to cross there, but I'll be very, I'll be mindful of that there's a possibility that it might crash.
Who is going first?
I think I'll be going first, but I'm borrowing... Oh, we don't have another spearman, do we? Yeah, no, I'm going first. That's fine. I'm also probably the heaviest, so.
Hefty woman, hefty armor.
I will approximate where that is, and I'm going to take the rope.
Yeah.
Right. I'll hand the rope back to Willa and the other bowwoman. The other end, and then I will pass like that area just to make sure that in case I crash in there, I still have a rope.
Got it.
Attached to me, and if there's nothing, then should be fine.
Quick rope around the waist with you and all of your plate mail, handing the other end to the two archers who will sort of brace as you go across.
Tiny prayer to Martha, as you do.
Let me just roll a quick die here. Why don't you make me that dexterity check after all? Yeah, because that ice does begin to split underfoot and give way. And if you are fast on your feet 30, with a 30...
I am lightning, okay? I'm lightning fast.
Actually, with a 30, I will let you choose which side of the crevasse to be on. Because that's an excellent check.
Well, the other... Okay, I'll be on Gregor's side.
Excellent. You throw yourself over, very clear of everything. The rope goes taut, and the ice falls away. And now you and Gregor are on one side, and the archers are on the other.
Wait, what happens with the rope? They're not holding onto it?
Oh, no, they are holding onto it, but you throw yourself, and they're like, oh my god, she's gonna fall! And they hold it, and, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it gets taut as you, action dive away.
I don't know if there's a tree nearby or not. Did Gregor see where I landed?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wave him over, and the two of you, either we fix the rope to a tree if there's one, or otherwise we will hold on to it. And I guess they could, if it's just 5 feet, you could probably take a swing over, right? That would be a possibility.
If you could affix the rope high enough and close enough, then, well, swing over it, the rope would have to be actually on their side, and they would swing across. If it's on your side, then the swing doesn't, then they're just losing altitude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to get them, I need to draw that because I'm not sure how to get them across otherwise if they can't swing.
Yeah.
Is there something to affix it to, or no?
Well, yes, but I feel like that phrase is not accurate enough to describe what you're asking for.
That also holds the rope when one person is attached to it and tries to cross.
Sure, but are you going to try and attach it at ground level, or do you want to attach it up on a branch from above? And if you're just trying to get the rope attached to something stable so it's not going anywhere, absolutely, 100% you can find a tree to attach the rope to. But if you're trying to attach the rope up in the air for some sort of vertical action going on, then getting a thick enough branch requires climbing a tree and some other things, which are all very, very doable. I just want to understand when you say affix a rope.
How far can you jump in 2nd edition?
Interestingly enough, they don't tell you.
Rules-wise.
If you have a jumping proficiency, you can do something, but without a jumping proficiency,
you can't
it's
jump.
Anyone's guess. It's really anyone's guess at that point. But a 5-foot gap, when it's, death or survival, is a very... It's surprisingly difficult. I encourage each and every one of you to go out and measure 5 feet and place some lines there and run and jump over it on your first try with, chainmail on.
Yeah, well, that's the issue, isn't it? But what do they have? Oh, they do have chainmail.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. The gear. It's so useful in combat, but it slows you down so much the rest of the time. It's probably why the enemy so far has been ungeared. With the jumping proficiency, if you have a 20-foot running start, you can jump 2d6 plus your level in feet, which is pretty good.
Well, Willa does not have a jumping proficiency,
No.
and I don't think Julia does.
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's one tree on our side that could attach a rope like this, yeah?
At its base, absolutely. 100%.
But there's none on the other side, correct?
Yeah, there totally are. But they will probably be more than 50 feet away. Plus the rope to tie around the tree, you know, it'll take at least 10 feet to tie around a knot. It leaves you only 40 feet, but you couldn't, there's not close enough trees that you could string a rope between the two of them.
Okay, well, I'll just put you through my thinking, okay? If this is like, if we tie the rope on this side and we tie it in a way that it is a short-ish rope, okay? Like the crevasse is only 5 feet, so we don't need that much rope. If I want the rope to be rather like, they hold it on this side, this is like the jumping side. And if this is a pretty short crevasse, I feel like we could have it so there's like more rope left over here. Even if they swung with their gear, I feel like for 5 feet, okay, if the crevasse is down here, and you swing and you land like against the wall, and then we can pull them up, I feel like that should be doable. Like,
so that would mean they are intentionally swinging into the crevasse, and then climbing their way up.
I mean, how far is a tree away?
No,
it's a 5 feet crevasse, right?
Yeah.
So if you swing down from here, you're not going down like 10 feet.
No. Wherever you... Yeah. You'll be 5 feet down. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
I'm just trying to sort out what sort of check for people this would require.
Well, it would require, I assume, 1 rope use, at least.
Well, I think you
to
can...
figure out the correct... No?
I think the rope use isn't necessary, because tying a rope to a tree is an easy thing. Any old dum-dum can do that. The question is when you have a rope and you sort of jump and swing into a crevasse and hit the other side, like, if you brace with your feet correctly, you're good, right? But if your feet slip and you face plant into the wall, do you like lose your grip on the rope? You know, do your knuckles hit the wall and your grip slips, or can you not hold your weight and you slide down a wee bit? I don't know.
I also am not sure about the jumping into the crevasse. Like, I feel like if it's 5 feet, you should be able, and this is like a correctly placed rope, I feel like you should be able to hang yourself over that cliff and then push yourself away with your feet in the other direction.
Right, so if we look at this...
Which might make less velocity, and therefore your impact wouldn't be as hard.
So if we look
I'm not a climber, so well, whatever.
If we look at this yellow thing over here, this line is ground floor, right? And the crevasse, this is just going down into the ground. So a person could let's see, there's a tree, right? And there's a rope around the tree, which comes to them. And so you're saying they could like sit and like slip their way down and then pull their way up?
Yeah, if the rope is not too long, I think that should be possible. Because like, I feel like if you take a running start and you jump and you swing over there, you're just putting too much pressure, like too much speed on your stuff, and you're just going to crush into the wall.
So this is more like I'm going to sit and pull the rope taut and kind of like scooch off the ledge and just slide
yes,
on
and
over.
then like bop against the other side, so that will be.
That's very reasonable. Yeah, that should be totally fine.
Since it's only 5 feet, don't try to do that with like a 20-foot crevasse or something, people.
A 5-foot gap is not that big of a deal. It's totally fine. So let's do... let's do dex checks at +5.
Okay.
No, I think that dex checks at +6. That's a very reasonable, very easy. Most people should pass that without any problems.
Okay. I'll do Will of.
Yeah. And it's we're dealing with like icy, slippery things, which is why I'm calling for dex. I think everyone's got the strength to hold on to that, and then other people can pull them up on the rope, but balancing yourself at the edge of the cliff and getting your grip right and everything, and it's all icy, it's fine.
Okay. So Willow first.
Oh,
32.
girl's good. Yeah, she's awesome.
And then what dex does Sonia have?
So Sonia, the bowman, the bowwoman, 12. Julia,
15.
with
Not great.
+6 though is 21.
Oh, that's just to make.
It's fine.
All right.
It's fine. Everyone crosses over, climbs back up, unhooks the rope. Deadly crevasse passed.
Hopefully, unless it goes around, and then like in the next 20 feet, there's the next crevasse, you know.
Yeah. Well, the party can pack up their gear, and as you move on, you will come across a small rise, which looks down onto a small cove, in which you can see not only footprints, but people. And I made their perception check, and just like every other perception check I've made for the deserters, it's been a shit show, and they rolled another natural 3 on their perception checks. And even though there's all this ropes and climbing and crevasse and ice breaking happening, just like, 100 feet away from them, they just completely were ignorant on all of it and didn't notice any of it. And now
Neal, I'll tell you something. So if you walk around here in the snow, you might realize that you can only hear really well people who are like right next to you, and everything that's like slightly further away gets muffled really bad.
Yeah, but statistically they should not be failing this many perception checks. Anyway, you and yours,
they'll keep them for later. It's coming.
You and yours can look down from this little bit of a rise, this little bit of a cliff, into what is sort of like a canyon-y bit. Like there's a bluff leading down to a beach, and there's a bit of a canyon that might have once been a creek or a river. And in fact, that crevasse that you fell into might be just like a further extension of this canyon in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it splits into who knows what exactly is going on. But down in this little canyon thing, there's plenty of footprints, and there's Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Rise of Drekis, Chapter 1, Episode 3, Part 4, The Fall of Elaine Pentolin. No. I mean, you just passed the crevasse. You didn't fall. You went through a style. It's fine. The Rise? The Rise of Elaine Pentolin?
The Rise, if it's not the fall? Yeah, let's hope it's still the Rise. Okay.
So let's get some tense music here, because you and your people are standing right above the enemy, right above them, and they haven't noticed you here. But if you try to move away super quickly and scramble and kick some snow off the cliff, well, someone's sure to look up. So our party pauses, notices the soldier just below them, leaning on their spear, shield strapped to their arm, picking their nose a little bit. Starving, and so then they eating it.
Yeah, well, not surprised that guy didn't make it with a perception check. Okay. It doesn't matter. No matter how, if we alarm them in any way, they will come looking. So I think I will first point towards I think we're all, pressed back a tiny little bit. And then I will give them the sign to, like, one after another, very slowly, like, back off,
The party scooches away quietly, crunching in the snow.
I'm having a hard time imagining what the surroundings look like.
That's a great thing to bring up. So the beach is before you, and there's like a bit of a rise, a bluff, you would call it. Mm-hmm. And there is a canyon or a crevasse in the bluff that comes back in your direction, which is what you've stumbled across without realizing it. But that extends maybe 100 yards, 100 meters out, and then the beach sort of continues left or right in either direction. And that is maybe 25 feet below you. It's like a 25-foot drop. 2d6 damage if you fall. Up on this upper area, it's sort of gently rolling, not large hills, but not super flat. And then all you're looking at is the tops of the snow, so maybe it's just like where the snow has mounded. There's the occasional tree, they're maybe 100 feet apart or so, maybe a little bit less in some places, a little more. 2 trees might grow from one spot, but it's fairly sparse, not a lot of great cover. Down on the beach, which is facing southeast, you can see the rolling waves. They're very small right now, terrible surf. And you can see scores of footprints leading out from this little cave or crevasse area onto the beach, some going to the left, but the overwhelming majority going to the right. And the right is generally the direction you were headed.
When you're saying the right, and that's the direction we're headed, it's like we're facing southeast, so that will be southwest, yeah?
The right would just be south.
Okay, well, yeah. Or that. Okay. Yeah. So, just so I understand that crevasse correctly, the crevasse we cracked up was somewhere up here behind us. But that seems to still extend, and there's some kind of cave down there?
Yeah, it appears that there's some cave entrance that this guy is standing in front of. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing is there's a real possibility. I didn't see any tents when we spied down real quick, right?
None.
There's a real possibility that these people are staying down there in the crevasse, and that we could possibly use our surroundings to our advantage and just cause a little cave-in, for example?
Maybe. But if that is their base, then it is however many people you think might be there all down there. Or maybe some are spread out doing things during the day. Who knows? But it's the 4 of you standing over what appears to be a cave that is guarded by a Drekisian soldier in armor. Right.
I want us to disengage and follow the direction into the south where the more of the footprints lead. So maybe we can catch another group that's split off, like, another group of loggers or something. Mm-hmm. Because it seems too dangerous if people are really in there. Maybe the cleric is even in there.
Yeah.
And spellcasters are, you never know. They're always up to no good.
Mm-hmm. This uterus-looking thing is the bluff and everything. The ocean is don't you do it? Don't you? Unnecessary ovaries. We're gonna
it's not an ovary. It's a funny face. Look. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is a serious moment here, Faye.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. These little white rolls are the rolling waves that are coming on in. And there are some footprints that make trails that come mostly out into the right, but also out into the left. Mm-hmm. And there is one baddie. Actually, we should use this one. There we go. One baddie right here underneath you. And our heroes, I'm going to drag you on down, are Something like this. And you had stumbled across this by accident.
Yep, and I think we want to, if it's possible, back off further into this direction down here.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna just...
Because I feel like if we just walk over here, there's a chance that this is gonna go fall down, and we'll just crash straight into the end boss fight, and we really don't want to do that.
Yeah, and somewhere down here, if we zoom out and scroll down a wee bit, let me make sure I get my distances right. Somewhere down over here on the left side is where that crevasse that you managed to cross was. So the party kind of crossed over here, and then something caught your eye, and I guess you're probably over on this side, actually, now that I look at how it would be arranged. Something caught your eye, and you came this way, and you spotted it like that.
If I had an educated guess, I would say the crevasse is probably somehow like that.
Yes.
It could be curving a little bit, but I doubt it would be going like this and then like this. Mm-hmm. Oh, you never know, but...
Who knows?
So
right. Mm-hmm. And the yellow arrows indicate the direction you were generally headed in.
Yes, and you said this direction is where more footprints lead away from their place.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, then we will crevasse. Well, then we would back away like that as well. So I would say roughly like this. Mm-hmm. Slowly bringing distance between us and the beach. And then I guess from that direction on, I would be moving here. 25 feet.
So in the direction of the most footprints.
Yes.
Okay.
The footprints are down here, they're not up here.
Right. And no one ever comes up on cliffs. Yeah, it's fine.
No.
All right, Elaine, Pentolin, roll me the best perception that your group has.
I have to check. So, how much does Julia have? I don't have a strat.
Julia's got a 10. Solid 10 out of 10. Well, 10 out of 18, but
Well, Gregor has a 6, so he's not rolling. Willa has 12, and I have, I believe, 12 as well? No, 11, so Willa's rolling. Okay.
All right, Willa.
Let's go. 26, my girl. Okay.
Excellent. As you proceed down this way, you soon hear the voice, a commanding voice. And Willa will hold everyone to a stop. The rest of you, well, you're just a little bit lower than Willa. She will listen for a moment, and as the sound of the crunching slows down to just the sound of the breathing, then as the breathing slows down to just the sound of your heartbeat in your ears, you too are able to pick up this voice, this commanding voice, who is telling its listeners to turn their eyes towards the heavens, for the truth of the situation lays before them. They are not doomed, but they are in danger. There is an enemy here, and this enemy is the same thing as their savior. Whoever it is that is here, whoever it is that decapitated the bodies we found in the woods, they are bringing a boat, or they have a boat, and that is our escape. Once we are gone, we shall rally the appropriate people. There are those who have been working to deal with the demonic queen, and with our knowledge, we shall find these saviors of ours over the seas and bring them here to rid Arcadia of its final evil.
Okay, we only hear it, we don't see it.
Yeah, it must be coming from... It's somewhere off in that distance, but it's definitely some sort of sermon, a practiced thing. It has that pacing and that intonation of a person who is used to directing their flock. It could be the cleric, It could be one of the knights. But someone is inspiring. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Because I'm not sure if it's a language thing or if it's a service thing, like a general question. So she said, raise your eyes to the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be part of a normal Drekisian sermon? Where you're like, oh yeah, that's how we pray? Or is it a thing where, look, I actually brought you something you need to look at?
No, that's more of like a behold the gods and the power of the majesty of the sky, and it's
Okay, I just wanted to make sure she's not, projecting something into the sky, and I'd be missing out on that. What direction is that coming from, Neal?
Generally in front of you and a little bit towards the beach. But, it's hard to tell out here. It's somewhere in front of you. You think it's that direction, but it could be there, or it could even be all the way over here. I'm giving you a 90-degree cone of confidence.
Okay. Since there are still no footprints here, I think we would still move on for a little bit and get a little bit closer. Probably very, very slowly, and with as much cover as we can.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean like crawling, or does that mean like hunching down? Like when you're walking.
I think hunched down, not quite not quite crawling on your arms and legs, but like like a crab.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like backwards on your hands and feet.
Yeah, and you do this as you walk. No, Neal. Okay.
You mean like squatting, like a squat walk.
Squatting.
Okay.
We do squat walk.
Because crab walking is a thing, but it's on your hands and feet, so it's
my bad. I'm sorry. I meant to squat walk. I was just missing the
cultural languages. Yeah.
It's not a crab walk in German either, so don't worry about it.
All right.
But yeah,
I was trying to give you some cover.
Slightly crouched down, working out them legs.
Okay. Well, your group can continue forward until, sure enough, you reach one of these like gentle ups and downs where you come over it just a little bit and you can see that maybe 60 feet in front of you, down a slight hill where it looks like this part of the terrain just like gently slopes down to the beach. There's a large tree that has been felled and it's sort of like laying next to the stump. But standing on the stump is this cleric who's making these broad gestures and preaching about all of the evils and how the people who have come here to kill us are actually our saviors.
I don't want to even stay that long and listen, okay? I just want to have a glimpse at how many people are there at the sermon. And what do they look like? Is it like, oh my god, I can barely stand? And like, that's all I care for. I'm not standing in the back listening to everything that that person has to say.
Yeah. Give me a quick perception check just to see how accurate of a head count you can get when you like look and dart back. Just by yourself, real easy. 27's great.
27.
Yeah, you instantly count 10 Drekisian warriors, soldiers in their armor and their shields and their chainmail, and 5 Solamese mercenaries who now have their chainmail and their shields and their axes. And you see the cleric. You do not see the 2 knights. You don't see any of the others.
Okay. And how would I assume they approached this position?
It looks like they just walked along the beach until they got to this large tree that was felled. And it's just, a gentle pathway, a gentle inclined plane down to them.
Okay. I would like for us to, if we keep heading, I want to circumvent them, head into that direction, further down, not towards the beach, but like further down into that direction, and circumvent them if possible, and just put a little bit more distance to kind of do a round, go around them.
Yeah. The group, hurries on as you can
yes,
away.
we're together.
And you are alerted to their presence, maybe 2 minutes later, by the sound of whistling arrows as they streak overhead. Someone must have seen you. Someone must have spotted you. Some of those spearmen must have taken up bows. These shots are all at -3, but a flurry of arrows will come your way. These are at you, Elaine. This is to your back, so you don't have your shield, and they've got +2 to hit, and then they've got -3 to hit. So these are at -1 against your AC of 17 in this situation. Nope, all misses. Same thing against your spearman. His AC is 15, but these are at -1, so that's a miss. These are against your bowman, your fancy bowman. The 18 will hit, and these are against your pleb bowman. All misses. So you will take Willa will take 3 points of damage as one arrow strikes her in the back when you get well, let's just drop the last one off of each of these, because it was only supposed to be 12 shots, which actually means Willa does not get hit, unfortunately. 12 arrows fly overhead.
What do you mean, unfortunately? Whose side are you on? I thought you're not supposed to fight against me, Neal.
I'm on all sides. I want all of my players and NPCs to succeed. A flurry of 12 arrows will fly in your direction, scattering amongst the 4 of you, some pinging into your armor, some landing in the snow ahead of you, some dropping behind you. And I think that will alert you all to look back, and you see these exhausted, these like hungry, tired soldiers in their armor and their weapons, like trudging up the snowy hill after you, with some bowmen at their backs and the cleric there.
Yeah, I think we'll still book it.
Okay.
I think we do not turn around. So I'm not that worried about the fighters, but I am worried about the cleric. So
yeah. The bowman will get another set of shots at you. These are going to be at a further -3. So this is a penalty of 4 to these shots as the party moves into long range. And we'll do 3 because we can actually count this time. 3 against Elaine.
No, Nettie.
So that is a 16.
Miss?
That's a miss. Against Gregor.
The 19 might. No, wait, it's -4, you said.
Yeah, it becomes a 15, but he doesn't have a shield, so his AC is 15. So that'll hit Gregor for 6. Ooh. 3 against
terrible.
Willa, which will miss, and 3 against Julia. That's a 13, will miss. Only Gregor will take any damage as the party flees.
So he's at 6 HP.
Half, yeah. Now, you're all similarly encumbered, but they are fatigued. They cannot catch you. If you are moving away from them and trying, they will not catch you, promise you. As long as you're not getting stopped by crevasses or bridges or anything else like that. The question, now that escape is all but certain, is where do you go? How do you choose to leave this area?
So we are
You're somewhere over here.
leaving. I think we're leaving further southward, like that.
Okay. Are you
That's the
hugging
direction we're
along...
headed to anyways, right?
Yeah. Are you hugging along the coast? Are you trying to head towards the mountain? These, the answers don't... It doesn't matter which answer you pick. I just need to know which way we're going.
I think we would be hugging the mountain simply because we've been in that area before.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, down here, there would also somewhere that... I still would like to avoid the river where where we met the polar bear, if that is possible. At least not cross at exactly the same spot.
Yeah.
Because that was also somewhere like here. So, yeah. Otherwise, we would be, yeah, I guess between the mountain and the coast. Something like this.
Okay. Well, quickly we go. There's only 4 of you. You're in better health. You're in better conditions. You might have a little bit more gear, but they are famished. And they're tired. Our party can escape. Roll me D100.
Not
Twice. Actually, do it twice for me, please, and thank you.
again. 19 and 74.
Well, the 74 is great. The 19, not so much. Oh, no, that's the wrong set of buttons. I need you to roll me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need you to roll me a D. Nine.
Sure? Are you sure it's a D9?
Yes.
9. It's 9 polar bears.
No, 1 through 6 would have been monsters. 7 through 9 are worse. They're environmental things. You can't see them coming.
Oh boy.
But the party's in
another
full-fledged retreat. I need you to roll me a D4 to see which one of your party members triggers this beautiful encounter. 2 is Gregor. Unfortunately, wounded Gregor.
Oh god.
Oh god, buddy, old pal. You're trying to flee from these people, and every now and then, everyone's exhausted because it's snow and it's gear, and you're huffing and puffing. You stop to catch your breath, and you can hear them shouting in the distance, and they're a little bit more spread out, but they're coming, right? And so the party is moving, and wouldn't you know it, there's one of these like creeks or rivers that has just a bit of ice on top of it and a little bit of snow on top of that, so you don't realize you're crossing a watery section until you're already on top of it, and you're like crunching on the snow, and it's a little bit firmer. You get a little bit further out when someone kicks and you realize it's ice, and Gregor's section is thin. Gregor needs to make me a saving throw versus death to avoid the cracking of the ice under his feet.
And if you make the save is the number or below, yeah?
A number or above.
Above. Oh boy, okay. Come on, Gregor.
14 or higher?
Come on. 16, my boy.
Yes, you're crossing this frozen river. The ice begins to crack. It begins to break underneath his feet. But Gregor, being the trained warrior that he is, like puts his spear across the ice horizontal. So as he falls in, he can catch himself on it and then begin to at least not get swept underneath the icy flow. But now you're in a dilemma because it's you and your 3 other people, and you're being chased. They're a little bit behind you, and Gregor's fallen into the ice. Do you stop to bring him out? That gives them time to catch up. It might expose you to more arrow attacks, or maybe the ice will break and someone else will fall in. Maybe he's going to slip in anyway. If you leave him behind, you can guarantee to save the lives of your 3 people. What do we do about Gregor?
I will wait for Willa and Julia to keep running. And I say, take positions on the other side of the river. Okay, so they get their bows out, and I'll try to get Gregor out of the ice.
You, the heaviest, in the most armor, are going to go on the area of thin ice and rescue Gregor.
Well, I do have a rope still on me, right?
All right, yeah.
So the problem is this does take time, and Gregor tries to get out in the meantime. But so I will. How wide is that river? Just because I can't picture it. How wide?
It's covered in snow. So honestly, you don't know the full width of it. It could be 20 feet or it could be 60 feet. And
how far is the next tree if I look at it?
150 feet.
Okay, so I will move 20 feet from Gregor. Okay, I'll move past, like, wherever Willa and the rest, or we crossed, right? So I will like walk past there, and I will drop the rope, and I will like slide it across to Gregor. Then I'll like stand 20 feet away from him.
You get like 20 feet away from Gregor, you hold one end of the rope and you like slide the other end in his direction.
Well, it's snow above, right? So you couldn't slide it. I would have to drop it. Yeah, I would chuck it. But you can't chuck a rope 20 feet because unless you're like a cowboy, I guess. So I'll walk 10 feet past him. Okay, so I only have to chuck it 10 feet and then I move the other 10 feet. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the die I rolled to see what happens when you get closer to the ice. And you get within 10 feet of Gregor, and the ice begins to fracture, and the ice begins to split.
Well, I can still move. If you say it begins to, then it does. I don't crash in, right? So I can still like leave the rope and then move away.
I'm gonna need another dex check from you, Faye. It's a pass.
23.
Yes. The ice begins to give way underneath you. You're aware that it's thin ice, so you're a little bit more on top of your things. That's why we're doing a dex check here. And you can feel it begin to give way and backpedal. And like the section where you were stepping, the snow caves in and the ground gives way a little bit. And now Gregor has like a little, he's got his spear on either side of the icy flow. You can see that he's being sort of swept at an angle. Like the water is flowing under the ice and he's getting pulled. And he's just holding on for dear life, and he's calling, Lieutenant Pentolin! Pentolin!
Well, I do have a rope use proficiency, so I feel like I should be able to chuck the rope at least more accurately than somebody who doesn't,
Yes. All right. Give me a strength check. Should be easy. Just get it in his general direction at a good
19.
distance. The first toss, whoosh, not so good. Give me a strength check for Gregor. Can he continue to hold on before getting swept away?
Oh man. Do I have him open? Yes. Come on. No, it's looking bad.
Oh, that is not good. That's a failure. That is a 19 on his strength check. Gregor loses grip and gets swept under the ice. What are you gonna do? Do you go after him? Do you leave him?
Well, I'm going to grab my rope and I'm going to head across the river.
All right. Willa and Julia are over there. They have bows out. And as you cross the river, in the distance, you can see the faded green of old Drekisian uniforms coming towards you.
Right, and we're heading away. We're heading out. We're running.
You're running. Okay. The other D100 you rolled was a 97? No, 74.
74, sorry. Yep.
All right. There's no more encounters then. You can make your way back to camp. They will follow. They will probably be slowed by the same things that caught Gregor. And the party will get back to camp well ahead of the others who are fatigued and exhausted and now carrying full of supplies, but aware of your presence, aware of your camp, aware that or at least expecting a ship to come and get you, or that you already have a ship with you. And you are aware that their expectation is your death is their salvation. And that is where we're going to end our session for the day.
Yeah.
So, like the other ends of our sessions, why don't you tell me a little bit about what is going through Elaine Pentolin's mind, and how she is assessing and feeling about this situation?
Well, she feels a lot better about the fact that there's no boat coming for them. You know, she doesn't know what that beacon is for exactly, but it's very clear that there's no time frame, no clear plan for a boat to arrive to save them, where it's like, we were going to be picked up in a month. Like, there's nothing coming. So the beacon is really more there to attract any boat that would come past the island and maybe have a look. But there's nobody really coming for them. Because they said they would have to sail to the other continent, or to Solemn, or to the other coast, and then tell people what happened, and then they would come back. So it is a relief to know that there's really nobody coming their way. It's also good to see that people at the main camp are not well fed, are still very exhausted. Like, she has to bank on that because the numbers are pretty even-ish, you know? And I think they actually might have a chance. If these people really follow them all the way to their camp, then they are rushing in into a place where they might have seen before, but they are not like super familiar with, right? They don't know where our guards are. They haven't been in the camp itself. So it would actually be easier to fight in our camp than it would be to fight in their camp. And even if they decide to turn around, we might catch at least a few of them, you know, and kill a few of them before they decide to retreat, which would also bring the numbers in our favor again. And I think she feels pretty bad about Gregor. But it was such a snap decision. I'm not sure she has had the time to really think about it just yet. And drowning in the ice happens so fast, you know. So
yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Today's been a hard session for Elaine. She's had to execute deserters, even people that seemed like they didn't want to desert. She's had to leave a comrade behind that, if the situation were a little bit less dire, maybe could have been saved. Maybe, just maybe. But it's gone as well as could be expected. I don't think anyone came. Well, I don't think Elaine came into this with the idea that everyone was going to leave the island unscathed. Right there, the expectation was that there were going to be casualties.
I think the expectation was that it was entirely possible that we wouldn't make it at all. You know, you have to be very realistic about these things, and the odds didn't look great for us from the very start. So, you know, we'll see how it develops. But yeah, casualties are to be expected, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, our wounded friend, our wounded spearman, does get 2 days of rest and regains 2 HP. Elaine is still at 21 out of 31, having worked every day that she's been here.
Give that woman a break.
Nope, no rest for the wicked. We have gained some amazing doodles of crevasses and ledges and rope trees and ropes. All right. So how does this reflect on the greater Drekisian Empire? Well, we see that there is no mercy for traitors, for deserters, for betrayers, and for oath breakers. Not a lick of mercy. And that is to be expected. We continue to see wounded Elaine, 1/3 HP down Elaine, lead from the front, and not say send off 10 people in, you know, groups of 1s or 2s to scout the whole island and report back, but instead taking on the most dangerous role herself. And we see her taking the difficult job of executing on herself, and not, it would have been easy to pass that off to somebody. I think that shows as much as it can that the Drekisian Empire is not quite a meritocracy, but they value being the one to do the work yourself. There's not a lot of delegation happening here. In fact, these mercenaries that you're dealing with are a little bit of the delegation that Drekis has had to do, and it didn't go well, although maybe not because of the mercenaries after all. But Drekis seems to be the sort of place where if you want something done, you show up to do it. You don't just pass it off to an underling. You take the risks yourself, and you put yourself in the position of hardship and responsibility. Drekis is shaping up to be a pretty decent empire. Not particularly abusive, not particularly cruel, giving people a final word, and having to make the occasional hard decision about who to leave behind for the safety of everyone else. Yeah?
I think one aspect of it is also the rising, right? So if you are somebody who wants to make it in Drekis or in the Empire right now, then you need to be taking risks, and you need to be you need to learn things, and you need to learn really fast, right? So taking on new experiences is maybe one way how you could establish your own position in this new rising empire by, moving ahead by yourself and not just delegating, because there's always the risk somebody else is going to take your post in the end, right? Because they see more experience and people will listen to them. So if you want people to listen to you, and if you want to be the one to rise up, you'll have to take risks, and you have to be in the front line a little bit, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, this will wrap us up for our episode today. We will probably be back next week. We'll do our planning offline. You'll see it on the calendar. You'll see it announced everywhere. There should only be 1 or maybe 2 more sessions left in this first chapter, and then we will come on to the second and third chapters, which are likely going to happen simultaneously, side by side. More information on that in the near future. Anything to say before we go today?
I just wanted to say it is pretty nerve-wracking playing a one-on-one campaign, that deals with post-Scoria Drekis. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's, said nice things, has enjoyed it, has supported us. This is Neal's campaign. It was his idea, and we have to thank his creativity for it. So if you would like to see formats like this, maybe also with other people, you should go to his Patreon and definitely support him. And if you do not have the money to support him on Patreon, you should go to YouTube and leave a nice thumbs up and leave a nice comment. And you better leave a nice comment. So that's all I have to say. Yeah,
because you know what happens to traitors and deserters.
Oh yeah, you know what happens if you don't fall in line.
All right, we'll catch everyone hopefully next week. Bye-bye.